We are live.
Yay!
Yay! So, so if you can see us, drop a comment.
Yeah, it also takes a couple of minutes for this to actually go live places when it says that it's live. So this
Yeah,
is,
that would be my assumption.
yeah.
Oh, we do have one viewer, it looks like. So
Yay!
for anybody out there, since we're not doing anything yet, StreamYard is super easy to use if you want to use it for a Kickstarter campaign. So Russell recommends doing a live something, doesn't have to be in person, but like doing something live during your launch week and during your end week. So StreamYard's a pretty good tool to do that. Oh, there goes my computer. All right. Oh, I see 3 people now. We must
Hi.
be going live more places. Hello, everyone. If you
Hi.
can see us, add a comment.
Yeah,
Let us
comment
know.
below. We
Comment
should be
below.
able to see all of your comments show up in our feed, and then we'll answer them. And honestly, like, this is for y'all. We don't need to. We've talked a lot about Kickstarter the past 2 weeks, and honestly, since September, I literally have been on Kickstarter after Kickstarter after Kickstarter, plus this since September. I think. I think I started my last one, my September one, in the end of August, and then we went straight into this. Then I did the 30-day countdown for the thing with another campaign. Then I did another one in January, and then another one in February, and then this thing. So like I know all about Kickstarter. So this is really, and I know Monica kind of feels the same way too. So like we can chit chat with each other and like not live, like all day. We literally spend
We do
8
that all
hours a day. I mean, literally 8 hours a day in a Slack channel, just the two of us chatting about this stuff. So like,
It's true.
yeah, if you have a question, please, this is your
Yeah.
time to talk about it.
Load us up with questions and we will start going through them. So
I do have a question
good.
before we get started, because
All right, let's
like
do it.
so I'm just going to give you the inside baseball thing that Monica posted in the accelerator group, which is like she just sent me another check for like $2,500, which means I made like $6,500 from this, like, not this, for this one book campaign that we did. And we kept 70% of the revenue of this campaign. And that doesn't even include what we've done for the accelerator. So like, how are you feeling right now, being able to retain 70% of the of the money for the campaign, and just with what I've never had this happen before. So like, I'm just asking, what?
No, it's crazy. I mean, it is crazy. So so we did the campaign for Get Your Book Selling on Kickstarter. It was a solo book. You know, we had higher tiers, but we weren't like, oh, and let's launch a course with it. We never, like, literally, and we're the type of people who would say that, but we never were talking about that with each other. We were never like, and we're going to end up launching the Kickstarter accelerator and it's going to be this huge thing. We kind of were just like Russell's like, oh, I have an idea, like, let's do the sprint. And I was like, okay, cool, I'll add it to our list of things to do. And that's kind of all we did. But during the campaign, we were testing stuff and we realized that the sprint was like the thing that people were most excited about. So even though it was a book, we actually we started pushing that program and we got 70 people in it. And then we were freaked out because then we were like, well, now we're like super public with this and we have to test this with like all these different people. And so we were like, are people going to fund? Like, we were freaking out to test the system with people. And I mean, we had good game faces, but it was a lot of pressure to put people through that. And they, like, the people who are in the core group, the first group, like, we love them so much because we don't know how they did that too with us, like because we're all just like scrambling for like 2 months to try to get these campaigns launched and funded, and they did incredible with like the kind of chaotic way that we had to teach it, because we weren't really ready to launch a full-blown course, I would say.
Yeah.
Like,
well,
we
and on
didn't
top
intend
of
to do that.
like, multiple people. I know there was at least 2 people that were like, I was already launching a book, so I guess I'll do this. And like, one of them ended up making like $3,500, and the other one made like $2,200 with a simultaneous launch to Amazon as well. Like, it was so we had done a lot of like split testing with the book, right? But like we'd always looked at past campaigns, and like we'd always had like the like things that we had that we thought were best practices. And so seeing 60 people or 70 people run through like, and 24 of them launch,
Right.
and
Yeah,
then
you
you're
probably
like,
had.
oh no, this really works. Like this
Yeah.
really works. Like we saw so much. I remember when Brian launched his campaign, Brian Cohen was like the
Yeah.
first one, and I was like, he
I
came to
was
us and
so
he
excited.
did some private one-on-one coaching as a tier, and
Mhm.
like I was like, oh my God, what if this still only makes like $5,000? Like, what if like all of our things, and then he made like 20,000, and I was like, oh, thank
Yeah.
you.
I know I didn't worry too much about Brian because he's got a really good audience. So, it's like he's one of those people where like he would have done well either way. We hope that we helped him, maybe not even double it, but we hope that we helped him like increase significantly what he could have done. But and he if he plans another one, if he decides to plan another one, we hope we can help him like really optimize it. Now that he's done like a really big one, but yeah, I mean, it's interesting when somebody has a big audience because that's when the optimizations. I think that's when this work becomes like actually even more important because that's when the optimizations are like, well, you optimize like all of this stuff and you can get double what you were getting, or you can get triple what you were getting, or what you would have done. And so I think that's working with somebody who has a big audience is really interesting, and working with someone who has a big audience, that's when you really want to be able to optimize for profitability, because it's like if you're making 70% of the campaign, then all the effort you pour into it's just like it's like so much more money, where if you have a small campaign, you're making if you're making 50% or to 70%, that can be not like that can be like $1,000 or something, but it's not like $10,000-$20,000
Yeah, so
difference.
people always ask me like, why do your they're like, well, someone even said this, like a $40,000 campaign isn't very much. I see $1,000,000 campaigns all the time, and like those are the people that should be teaching. And I was like, here's the thing about those $1,000,000 campaigns, like they are probably not profitable or like barely
Mm-hmm.
profitable. And like, so I could do a lot of stuff with my campaigns that made way more money,
Mm-hmm.
but they'd also have way more cost and make things way more confusing.
Right.
And so, when you make $20,000 and you get to keep $13,000 of that, like that's a huge difference from like spending 40 and making 40. We just were talking about this with someone last night, or with each other, like last night, this morning, where like we saw a campaign that did pretty well, and we were like, oh, they have like their book tier is like, there's no way that's profitable. And so
Right.
we're like almost not, and they didn't have that many digital tiers. So there was just like the cost that they were spending had to be almost exactly what they were making. And
Right. Yeah, and that is the problem, is that if you're not profitable, then your expenses multiply too. Like it works the other way, and it's like
yeah,
you have to be very, very careful. Like the more audience you have, the more careful you have to be with the profitability piece.
yeah, I was very surprised I've done a lot of Kickstarters before, but I was surprised at just how well that worked, and then how that transitioned to this accelerator that we're doing now. Because
Yeah,
um
yeah,
like
we didn't realize like at
yeah,
all. We were talking about this. We were like, go ahead. Well, you go ahead.
well, I was gonna say, just
You.
like I don't know if I'll be honest and say, like, this isn't like, courses have never worked for me before,
Yeah.
like ever.
Yeah.
Like I used the most successful ones is I do my Crush It on Kickstarter course I used to do, and then I'd had a Build Your Rabbit fan base, and like those two made me some money, but never in like a launch webinar scenario. So I was like very, very surprised that like it just how, I don't want to say it's easy, because like I don't think that's true, but like how, I don't, I'm going to say effortless, because like how natural it was. Because when I'm usually doing course launches, it's like, okay, now do the webinar, now put the money into the advertising, and like then like get really tense that week beforehand because you just put like $3,000-$4,000 into advertising, and then like it all is kind of flushed down the toilet, or maybe you make your money back. So like
Yeah.
that, this had such an engaged, wonderful audience of people who'd read the book, and we were able to send them the book and they had it in their hands. And then they were like, yes, I'm excited for this thing. And we had this pilot group who went through and was successful and was super like excited. It was like night and day. It's like night and day.
Yeah, I think a lot of it is that we don't like I've never had anything that was so the results were so tangible too. You know, like it's like, yeah, like, you know, teach you how to write a novel. Now you have a novel, I guess, but it's not like I mean with Kickstarter it's like, okay, this person did like a 6K campaign. Like
Yeah.
that's like a very like immediately tangible, like you understand the true value of that.
Yeah.
Um
And even for like audience building, I've done a lot of audience building, and people are like, yeah, you have a 10,000 person audience. And it's like, what does that mean? And you're like, I don't know.
right.
You got to now but when you're like, can run a monetization event and that's the end thing, it's like, oh, it means $6,000 or
Mhm.
$500. And now you can grow from all of those numbers. Like,
Right.
I know we're both data nerds. So like,
Mhm.
it's really
Well,
nice to,
yeah, you more than me, but yeah.
I'm
Yep.
definitely
Yeah.
data nerd. Maybe Monica is data curious. You want to go
So
through some of these things now
yeah,
that
I
we
feel like
can?
we should answer your questions.
Sure.
So
Yeah.
just talk about our thing. Okay, so here's the first question. How can we budget time for the Kickstarter? And if we spend 40 hours pre-launch, what should we expect during the campaign? Wow.
Well,
40
yeah,
hours pre-launch is a lot.
it's a lot.
That's
That's
a
more
lot.
than we spend.
Yes. I don't know that I spend that much.
So there's highly leveraged activities that you can do. So like pre-launch, you should spend your time building out the campaign using the system that we have in the accelerator and in the book. And if you do it that way, like then it becomes systematized for every campaign. Like almost every campaign will look and feel on some level. You'll be able to like just be able to do it. Like I can do a campaign outside of like adding all the add-on pieces in like 2 to 4 hours, like depending on the complexity. And often it's cut and copy and
Yeah.
paste.
You've built a lot of your stuff though too. So if you're
Yeah,
doing like a campaign, so I think that that's the thing is like Kickstarter gets faster, Kickstarter gets easier because like Russell, you have a campaign that's like maybe in, you know, books 9 through 12 coming up, I think.
yeah,
And so you probably can copy and paste a lot of the stuff from the previous campaigns to that. And so and like that's Russell, but like that's also everybody. So
yeah.
like as you build your campaigns on the platform, it's going to get really fast.
Yeah. But also, I did a campaign earlier this year for Dragon Strife, and like it was very easy to be like, okay, what are my 3 questions? Where is the blurb? What does the world look like? What are the characters? All of the things that we talk about in the book, and building it out that way as well. So even when you're doing a new campaign, if you're using the framework and it becomes much easier because you're like, okay, where am I lost? Okay, I don't have the world. Oh, I don't
Right.
have this piece. I don't have that piece. Oh, I added this piece. I don't need this piece. Or like, oh, I really need a transition between this piece and this piece that I don't need on this other campaign. Because everyone's going to be a little bit different, but they all psychologically are the same thing. So yeah, if you probably did spend 40 hours pre-launch because we talked for
Me.
like 100 hours, like
We
just
talked a
about all
lot.
this.
Yeah, we talked a lot, and Russell had to spend a lot of time. Like I think of myself as his like protege, basically, like his first mentee, and he spent a lot of time explaining stuff to me. Luckily, I got it like kind of right away ish, or I got like 80% of it like somewhat right away, and was able to execute it. Because I just think of like, man, if like that could have like gone really poorly.
I
Um,
was so worried when you hit that button. I was so worried. I can tell you now, like, because we didn't get the pre-launch page up until about 3 days before the campaign went live. And I was like, I can't. I was like, what's going to happen when we hit that pre-launch? What's going to happen? What's going to happen? Like, I just trained Monica to like do this whole thing using every piece of the system. And what if we only make $5,000? It's turned out to be a silly fear, but like,
No, it was a good fear. I mean, now that I know like how hard it can be to get to get followers, like luckily I didn't understand that because we got to 150 very quickly. But
like literally
if
within
I
a day.
yeah within like a couple days, but like if I had known how hard it was, I think I would have been freaking out.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I would say like I don't think I spent 40 hours. I probably spent a good 10 hours on the page. And Russell spent several hours on the page as well fixing it, so that could be why. But like 10 hours on like the page, the design, the campaign design, which wasn't perfect, like the image pack for it, the video, like putting all of that stuff together, like with a video, you got to have images for that too. So that was probably 10 hours. And I mean, it was a rough 10 hours for me because it was between like, well, basically my dog was dying and then my child was having his second birthday party and then we have people in town. So like I was kind of doing it at like 3 a.m. sometimes. But it all got done barely. And Russell was like, I remember I asked you a question, like, should we do this? And you were like, you haven't even gotten the page up. Like you were like, so you probably like wanted to kill me. But
well, now I know.
and
Now I
then
know when like you said you're like, I'm gonna do. I'll send. I was like, I'm gonna get it. I'm just gonna get it at like the
like
last
late,
minute, but it's gonna be really good. And like you have to know how the other person works when you're in a
yeah,
partnership. I
yeah,
think like that's what
yeah.
I've learned a lot in the last
That's
6
true.
months too. Is just like how to deal with people's differing schedules who
Yeah.
like all are both uh like motivated and such. So I would say like you'll probably spend 10 hours. Like even you're not going to spend less than Monica to get the system right. Like
Yeah,
or just it's going to take, and even then you're going to have to duplicate stuff and like add a bunch of pieces and find it. So you're probably going to do 10 hours, which is
yeah,
why I like Kickstarter being a renewable resource because you learn how to do this 10 hours, 20 hours. It takes you the first time. It like will take you less, and by the time you do your third or fourth campaign you'll know all of this stuff. So I would say you need to spend 10 hours, let's call it 10 hours on the page,
yeah.
and you need to get it approved 4 weeks before. You need
Mm-hmm.
to have it. You need to have the approval for the page because you need to do you need to get your pre-launch promotion page up, and then you need
Mm-hmm.
to spend at least a month systematically driving traffic to your
Right.
pre-launch page because you will see how many followers you have. And for me, that's how I track things. I'm like, okay, for me, and if I'm doing a novel campaign, if I have 100 followers, it means about $5,000. That's what it means for me. And so I know the metrics. I don't know what I mean for you. With our comic campaigns, it means more like 10 grand. Maybe with an anthology page means more like 15 grand. Like I don't not 100% sure exactly like what it will mean for you. But that's why we're running a test. That's why I tell you to keep the budget low at the beginning because we don't know. Like 33 people on your list. Well, we just had someone with 87 people raise $6,000. I've also
Right.
seen people with 150 people raise $2,000 or
Right.
$1,000.
Mm-hmm.
So we don't know. And so we need to run really after the first campaign, you're only going to know some of it because there's going to be an artificially inflated number of people who will back you, whatever, because you just have a new project. So then you need to run a second campaign that's like, okay, who's going to leave? Who's gone now? Who's like the gone people? And what does this mean? And then you can sort of build from there. So like you need to spend, and it's not that much time. Once you have the pre-launch page, everything funnels to the pre-launch page. So your email sequence, your everything else kind of, and so not even 10 hours, I don't think, in the next month on it
Right.
because I set out, but you might need that amount of time to, as one of the bonuses for this, you get
Mm-hmm.
my actual copies center. So like, hey, if you use just the copy that I wrote tailored to your thing, like it's going to take you an hour instead of
Mm-hmm.
like 20 hours to figure this stuff out. And then you can track everything that you're doing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I think with our program, I mean, so we're assuming you're going to be a student in the program. So it's like you're going to have to like watch all the videos. So that's like another, probably 10 hours or so. There's like way more than 10 hours of video in the program, but you're probably going to be watching like hours and hours of video first. So like you want to give yourself, if you're going all out on this, you want to give yourself maybe double that time because you got to watch the videos and then you got to do the work.
Then you got to
Um,
post about the work
and then you
for
post about the
notes.
work to let us know. So a couple more things to say about this. One is that even though you're spending 10 hours getting your Kickstarter set up, you're actually building all the assets that you're going to use later anyway. So like the same exact thing is going to be your email sequence when you launch on Amazon. And those are things that a lot of people just don't even do for their Amazon or other retailer launch. But these are things you should be doing anyway. So you're building a lot of assets around the series. So I mean, to me, it's like you're just spending 10 hours now doing it, and like you get to test it now, and then you're more prepared for the retailer launch. So I don't
Yeah.
see it as like necessarily even more time. Learning the system is more time, but like doing this work, like you should be doing it anyway, and it's going to make your retailer launch better.
Yeah. Yeah. And if you know, you'll know if copy doesn't work because people won't be converting and to change things like now. Like you basically have, like you said, a test for the copy that you're using. I can tell you that I've done Kickstarter for a long time. I went to do an Amazon launch, just like they tell me, just like they say, like with the exact same amount of emails and everything. And it blew up in my face. Then I went back to Kickstarter and I started sending like all of the warm up emails and everything, telling people why I love this series. And I got response after response after response, like, oh, it's so nice to see you care about a series again. Like they literally just like I didn't even try to get that other series because like I didn't think you cared about it. So like literally just taking all of that stuff is going to be valuable to you forever, especially if you do like 4 books in the series or
Yeah.
something on Kickstarter. Like the more you do, the better it's going to get by the end. So I think we've kind of
We've
fully beaten this
exhausted.
dead horse.
Yeah, we've exhausted this. Okay. So DL Martone asks, how many new people are we up to in the accelerator group? This is a good question. So we are over 50 new people in the group. There was, of course, like we got 70 during the campaign, and then I think we were up to about 90 before that. So we're at like 135, 140, somewhere around there. And not everybody has joined the group yet from the, from getting into the program. But I do want to say there is a bonus ending. So I guess we'll let it go through this call, and then after that, we're going to end it. But it's for a workshop called Plan Your Book Launch, and it goes through some of the Kickstarter numbers that we're talking about, like how Russell uses the following number to figure out the launch numbers, possible launch numbers, to figure out the dead zone numbers, and like it kind of just goes through all of that. So if you saw our webinar, you know we talked about the numbers then, but the workshop goes through more of that. And then we do have some stuff, we'll announce that maybe at the end of this, some other stuff that we have ideas about. So
Yeah.
but that's where we're at. Yeah, so we hit the first, forgot to say this, we did hit the first group bonus. So we have a group bonus going on. The group bonus was a May mentorship call for just the paid members of Kickstarter Accelerator. And so we did end up hitting that. So we are doing that call in May, and it's usually a really good like advanced call because it's all paid people who like they're not asking kind of the starter questions for it. So that will definitely be happening. And then we have another group bonus, and should we talk about it now or later?
Let's talk about it many times throughout this
Let's
call.
talk about it over and over again. Okay, so that one is because we have 2 more weeks of this launch period, which we weren't even sure if we were going to do, but since our thing doesn't start till May, we're just going to close it, April 30th. So we would like to see like 50 more people join the accelerator, because it just makes the group stronger. Like ideally we'd like to see thousands of people in the group eventually, like all doing Kickstarters. But for this launch, we're hoping to get like another 50 authors to say yes to this. And if we do that, then we're going to Russell is going to mentor me in the group, which I'm pretty excited about actually, because I love Russell's mentorship. It's always really good. So basically we're going to take my upcoming campaign and we're just going to like see if we can optimize it a lot more than I can do on my own. And we're just going to get like Russell's, sales mind on it, thinking about it, and he'll be kind of coaching me through it to see just how high we can go. And the campaign is a fiction campaign. It's a pen name that I have not updated. I haven't put out a new release to it since 2017. So it's been 5 years. So I'm reviving that pen name. We have a page for it. There are 33 followers on the page as of like a couple days ago. I haven't checked. And then I'm launching it like probably like mid-May. So we're going to give it, probably 3 to 4 weeks of pre-marketing. And so I think it'll be really interesting because a lot of people are starting at that audience of 0, and that's kind of where this project is. It's like at well, it's an audience of 33. So I guess that's good, but it's kind of an audience of 0. But we're just going to see if we can hit like a big goal on it still. So it should be really fun. And we'll do it if we get to 100 people, we'll do it.
I should say me and Monica will probably do it like regardless. Like I'll
we
go.
kind of have to start recording it. Yeah.
Like I'll do it with her in private.
That's true.
Like you want it in, then like please go and tell other people in to come into the group. We were talking about this in I think the webinar thing a couple of days ago, but it's like the more people we get in, the more excited we get, and the more we give. I don't know how we can give more to like the accelerator group, but like I just thought of a new thing that I'm going to record like maybe today or tomorrow. I've basically recorded something new every day this week. And so I'm going to keep doing that. Maybe not every day, but like I get excited for this stuff when people are excited. And when I get questions that I'm like, oh, that'd make a good video. So the one I did yesterday was a lot of people who came in this cohort asked me the same question, which was like, I think that this book has to cost $75. How do I get it there? And like, so I recorded something called The Stack, which is like how you stack rewards to get someone to pay for $75 of book. And like, guess what? It's the secret. Like it's one of the big secrets of how I've gotten to be as successful as like, how do you make a stack while still being very profitable? So like those are the kinds of stuff. Earlier this week, I made like the case for your book, which I think is a transformational video in and of itself. So like we've got to the 50. We want to get to the 100. And I think that like the more people we get in, also the better. Like just as you said, the group is going to be.
Yeah, there's more cross promotion and like everybody grows together. Like we've even seen that with our first cohort of people, which was 70 people. You know, we had lots of people who were like very brave souls. We love them to death. Like I cannot believe they launched in January. And it was hard. It was very hard for everybody in the group to launch in January, but they did it. And so that group, they did, like if we looked at the average backer amount, average backers and average, amount raised with that group, it would have been, whatever it was, a couple $1,000 was probably the average.
Like 2,500 probably.
Yeah, like somewhere around 2,500. So then lots of people watched that group go through and then launched, February, March, even into April. And those people, you can see that they're doing like almost like way 2x. Better. Yeah, it's like already 2x. So if you looked at just like the people who are launching now, like they're all hitting like $3,000 to $7,000, like somewhere around there, I would say.
I just went to one of the pages today that we were worried about at the beginning. And Monica was like, "Oh my God, this has been up for like hours and it's only got like 3 backers." And then I looked this morning and it's like either 3,500 or almost 5,000. I forget. I think it's almost. Like I'll look at right now.
It's like a mid 4 figures campaign, and I think all the ones that are going right now that I've been kind of watching too, I think they're all mid 5 figures or 4 figures. Sorry.
So 3,647 backers. So like people are learning to stack a little bit better, and like often. Let's be fair. Like Monica and I like had names before we did our campaign. Like people are like, oh, roll their eyes. Like, yeah, you did 10. And you might be sitting there being like, oh, well, Monica's probably going to do $5,000 just because she's Monica. And like, even though she's only got 33 people, like it's like you've been doing 10 grand for like ever. Like this is for you. But like when you watch literally someone come in from scratch and go, oh, you have nothing, and like look at what you did, like it emboldens you. It emboldens you way more than me and Monica doing it, because like we're supposed to be doing it. Like we're supposed to
we're supposed to be good at it. Like our whole thing is like we just can't fail now. Like there's so much pressure to like always succeed at it. But like like to see people who are like, they made like 5K. And they've been, and they legitimately don't have, like, they have a, email list of 100 people or like.
And I'll tell you, like, we've watched people also launch, because I have a lot of friends who do books and a lot of people who just did the book and not the accelerator. And a lot of them, they go and like, it just doesn't go as well. And more important, part of the reason
Yeah.
that we had somebody that was like a friend of mine on track to like do their goal. They just canceled
Mhm.
the campaign. And like they like kind of freaked out in the middle. And I was like, wow, I wonder what you would have done if like you had a
Right.
community of hundreds of people or
To say
150
like, "Hey, this is
people.
normal." Yeah.
Yeah. Or just to say, try this. Or like he goes, like he's like, and I can see it. It's like like maybe he was like, you know, I just don't have any way to do cross promotion or anything. Like I feel stuck. And like, well, if you've got like a whole group of people, and one of the things that we don't talk about a lot, maybe we should probably start doing it, but I have an indie exchange. I'm gonna try and pull it up here, which has like just dozens of books in it that you can use, and like it's a massive resource of just like people who are willing to cross promote. We have posts that are like, who wants to cross promote, who's launching on this day. And now that we have like a bunch more people in it, we're probably going to do this monthly, which is like, who's going to
Yeah.
launch.
Who's launching this month?
You
Like,
know, if people think it's valuable, we can do like little group chats in like Facebook about like, you know, who is launching, so you can get that. And like, these are invaluable pieces of the puzzle that you probably don't have now. In fact, if I just take the average human who is messaging me as any indication of everyone, like y'all don't know anyone who uses Kickstarter, or like you may have used it for a board game, but you've never used it for a novel or something. So it's
yeah. Or sometimes like you know somebody who's doing Kickstarter, but you're not really friends with them, or like you try to talk to them about it, but they're getting inundated with questions, or it's not. I just think there's like definitely a camaraderie within the group of like, hey, like we're getting like people are actually getting to know each other and each other's businesses because we go through so much of it. So you get to know the people, and then you've actually made some friends basically in the author community who are like-minded and that they're excited about Kickstarter.
So if Monica agrees to have this
Oh
shared,
yeah,
I
yeah,
can show you too.
yeah.
So
And
this is
so
just like one piece of it.
can you explain like what people would use these books for? Because I
Sure.
think that's
So
not clear to
let's go
everyone.
to one of my campaigns and I'll show you. So every week during my campaign, what I do is I have these. I hope it's still up. I don't think I changed it. I have these perks that people just get. They're all digital. That people just get these perks for backing, and I send them. And I just got done uploading them all to BackerKit either this morning or yesterday afternoon. And it's just people get these books as bonuses for backing on top of everything. So it's like, okay, well, why would I buy like your book on Kickstarter? Well, like for these reasons, and it doesn't cost you anything. It's just an extra value add. And I know people who also say like, hey, if we get 50 backers, you get this extra one. I tend to not do that as a stretch goal. I do it weekly, and we talk about that in the accelerator. But like, so you could put these packages together through all of these books. All of these people are people who use Kickstarter. Basically, you offer one of your own books that people can use for free. You have access to all of these books, and the thing grows. I think I've put 5 or 6 in there in the last the last week alone. And it just keeps growing more and more powerful with every cohort. And that's what I mean by like, hey, 50 more people, it's going to be so much more powerful.
It's going to be more powerful with the cross promotion, especially. Okay, so we chatted about that a lot. So we'll go on to the next question. Oh, and I see there's more. Okay. My biggest question is literally not knowing where to begin, what to choose to do a Kickstarter on. Okay. Yeah, we definitely we talk about this quite a bit. We did in the challenge. So I don't know, Russell, do you want to?
Yeah, there seems to be
We have a
more of
list.
this question. So
Yeah, there's a lot more of the question.
um,
2 pen names, mystery thriller, contemporary romance, 6 books in one, 7 books in the other, more in the pipeline for both. Mental block is trying to figure out precisely in my current setup what would be good for Kickstarter. I already have paperback and large prints out for the mystery. Are you ready to?
No, I got to go to this person's thing. So
Oh,
I'm
I'm
trying to
sorry.
find it. I tried to find it in
Oh, it's at
the
the top. Yeah.
is it in the accelerator
Deanna
group?
Hart.
All
No,
right.
no.
I want to
Is it
find the rest of this mess. There we go. All right.
okay?
Mental block. I already have paperbacks and large prints, and the romance side, they're all novellas, so not really viable for single paperback versions. Well, what if you? I don't want to go to. I'm not going to go to your page and just. Usually, I would just go and see what your pen name is, but here's some options. Okay, so you have 6 novellas. You could do a special edition box set for the romance novellas as like one set if they're or 2 sets. You could
Oh,
do
those are kind of expensive though, because this is her first campaign for sure.
yeah, I want to
I
do
would
what I
say
want
like
to do.
omnibus more.
Well, it depends on how long the novellas are, right? Like if they're 15,000 words, then doing 6 of them would be like 80, 90,000 words. That would be a
Okay.
fine length. Like that would be
Mm-hmm.
like a 300, 400 page book, which would cost you about $7, $8, $11 if you're in hardcover. So like you can definitely do that. I would not do them as a single thing, but what I would look for is this is what I told this is what I told somebody. We did a video, and you should, if you're in the group, you should go look at this video that I did for, I think it was
Yeah.
Kimberly Gordon, which was like, I
Yeah.
looked at their page. And if you put your Amazon page, I'll look for it also. Like I'll look at it and like, I'll tell you, but what you're looking for is, let's say you have an anniversary coming up. Let's say it's been 5 years since you published your mystery thriller. Be like, hey, it's Detective Jana Brown's like 5-year anniversary. So like we're doing a special edition 5-year hardcover where like we're just doing like we're gonna have the first book and I'm gonna put an interview in there and like we're gonna do like all of the bells and whistles and like I'm getting a brand new special edition cover and we're gonna do like a book box and like that's the thing. It's for one book. So people often say like people take the thing that I say about trilogies and they say, oh, I have to do a trilogy the first time. And I don't think that's true. The difference is like whether velocity to market versus most amount of money made. And so I would say try and find something you can do relating to a anniversary or do something that is like a first in series or just do a slipcase. Just a slipcase campaign. What I mean is like they can spend $50 to get like just the slipcase for all the books that are out.
Yeah, which is a it's basically the case that goes around the like the series of books. So it's like a box set. It's a box set but without the books in it, basically.
Yes. I mean you can offer the books as well, but like you don't have to. But yeah, I would those are the 2 things. Like find one book. So here is like the best piece of advice probably of this. It's like you want to do a $500 goal. Like not because
Yeah.
not because like you can't hit more, but because we don't know. It's like I'm going to train you how to do a 10 grand camp. We're going to train you to do a 10 grand campaign. Then we're going to put you out and say like, okay, test your first book. It's kind of like when you take a Facebook ads course and you're like, what? This one's going to have all the magic. And they're just like, here's all the steps you need to take to optimize it. Now go test. And you're so angry every time because you're like, no, you're supposed to give me the secret. But the secret is like optimize and then go test. So I want you to do a $500 goal because I don't know how many people in your audience will convert. I just have no idea. Could be 20 people, could be 100 people. And I don't know how much they will spend. There might be 100 people who spend $20. There might be 30 people that spend $100. I don't know. So you want to do something that is small at first to test.
Yeah. I mean, this is like basically you've been selling hot dogs at like a hot dog stand and now you're like going and selling like a 3-course meal at like some other place. Like it's like, yeah, you know how to sell food, but do you know how to sell like something that's like higher price, or does your audience translate? Like the person who eats hot dogs, they're not like trying to get a 3-course steak dinner somewhere
Sure.
else. So like it's kind of like that. Like a lot of things are going to transfer in terms of what you know already. But if you've been selling like $5 ebooks, and that's mostly what your list buys, then how do you know if they're going to buy a hardcover book? And so that's kind of what Russell's saying for the just like being conservative to start out, because you don't know.
You don't know, and we're hoping it go gangbusters. But another
Yeah,
thing that
and
you
a
can
lot of
do,
people are going gangbusters. Like,
yeah,
to be fair, like a lot of people are, and
yeah,
we are also learning to teach it better, and we're getting more resources so that people get it faster, and like we're able to help people more because we just see like all these different scenarios now of like what's going on, and we are able to like fix things more easily. But yeah,
sure.
we would like you to stay at like a 500
So here's
500 person
here's what I will
$500 goal.
say, Deanna. You said that you've done this for a while. There's probably a
Yes.
book that you've done that has not sold well, like a standalone book that you're like, man, I really love this book, but like it just did not hit. And like, honestly, that's the one I would choose because like it's probably standalone. It's probably not in either of your series. It's probably off market. It's probably very weird. And you probably are in the red on it or barely broke even. So like it will not cost much to recover the book and like put it out again. Or to do I don't know, a crossover mystery thriller contempt romance with each of your like the main character from one of your mystery novels and your romance novels, or a side character. And like Krishan does this really well, which he's like, here's this other thing that's happening over here. Like the third main character from this book has like a cozy mystery romance with like the fourth main character from this book over here. And like this is really a cozy mystery story, but it's set in my world. So like if you're doing a novella, like maybe something like that would work for you. But you're really looking for like, I say like I have a book called Worst Thing in the Universe, which no one ever buys. It's to me my best book, and no one buys it. And so that would be the one that I'm like, okay, if you're a huge fan of my work, this is one that I want you to look at or take an extra thing at. And I'm willing to spend a month convincing you to do it because this book is better than the sales numbers indicate. So I don't know if any of that resonates with you, but those are kind of the three options that I would give you.
Yeah, sorry. Did you say because she writes two genres where they're probably standalones. So like you could also just do like, book 7 as a standalone. Like you could probably get away with that without doing the first 6. I'm
Yeah.
assuming, because if it's standalone. So you may have better luck with that too, as like just do like your next book, just launch it on Kickstarter first.
Or your first book, just go
Or
back and
or the first book.
it says you have paperback and large prints. You don't have a hardcover. If you have paperback and large prints, like you don't.
Well, or you like don't have like an audio commentary, or like there's probably some people on your list who haven't gotten it.
Yeah, so I'll tell you what we're doing for this new launch is we're doing I went back with book 9 to 12 or 8 to 11 because there's a book 0. So really like 8 to 11. And I recorded audio commentaries for all 11 books. And I was like, you can now get the ebook or the audio commentary for all of our books. And, it doubled audio. We did the audio commentary for 5. We normally do it for 10, but because there were 11 books, I was like, I'm just going to do it for 5 because like, whatever. Like if I get 11, if I can get $55 from these people, awesome. Like I love that. So, and it took me like 2 days to go back and record all the stuff for. So if you say we're going to do like a special edition hardcover of book 1 with an audio commentary, and it's going to come in like a really cool new cover, and it's going to like have a special, like it's going to be numbered or like whatever the thing is, like I'm going to sign it special for like you guys, and it's going to have a special short story in the back. I'm telling you from experience, people who have all of the versions of your book will go buy it. New people will go buy it. Like there are people that will just get the $5 ebook, but you can do a lot with like literally pick any book. That's why I said the anniversary one is really good, because if you have that many books out, it's probably been 5 years. It's probably been 5 years or 3 years, or there's something that you can be like anniversary of this, pop, pop, pop. We're doing a special edition.
Yep.
All right. Cool.
So wanted to say hello to Nadine and to Terilyn and to Laura. Thank you for saying hello to us at the beginning. Okay,
Hi.
next.
30 minutes,
Hi.
40 minutes later.
Yeah, 44 minutes in. Hello. Okay, so this Facebook user says, I still need to read the whole book, but I'm wondering, does it work for nonfiction?
So yeah, if you're still here, then I will go back and just say, like, go back and listen to the first like 10 minutes of this thing. But like Monica and I did a series did $20,000 for one book. And that book now, when it launched on Amazon, Monica, of all of the books that in the book sales Supercharge series, which one is the most popular book?
It is. So yeah, we're selling that book pretty well right now. I mean, it's still small numbers in terms of indie authorship. Like I think we're selling probably about 100 books a month, which is not a ton on a book in general, but this is a $9.99 book. It's it's
very niche,
very super niche, and we're not doing ads and like
and also just, like it already came out in the marketplace.
So like we had already sold like over 500 of them. So right. So yeah, it's doing pretty well, and like those numbers have been consistent. It probably won't stay there without us pushing it, but yeah, we put it out basically because of because we had some interviews coming out. So
yeah, and we had we kept like of the 20,000, like we were able to split like 13,000 plus everything that happened afterwards with this group and everything. So like if you are nonfiction, there is a 100% chance you should be in this. You should give us $500 now because we are developing a thing that's going to cost like $3,000 that is going to like specifically speak to how we've done with the nonfiction thing and raised. I mean, we've raised on this one book like $50,000 in it's like $50,000 almost in like since we launched the thing. If you include all this other stuff.
Yeah, and I wouldn't count it like I think at this point, it really was just a book, but I think it's kind of expanded into, the other thing is it's expanded into a program, so that's like part of why it's doing really well. But then I think the other thing is we don't really do much one-on-one coaching. So if you are if you're a nonfiction author and you have a one-on-one coaching or consulting practice, because both like neither one of us are like that into coaching, and like we just we do the mentorship in the group, and we just try to funnel people into the group because we're able to talk to people and get people through it at scale, I guess. But yeah, if you have consulting, like I don't it's like just get in this group as a nonfiction person. So I'll say that, and then I'll also say if you have a backlist of like more than 10 books, like you should just be in this group. Like and I don't want to say like I don't understand why. I do understand why you might not be in the group, but I do just think you'll be able to make your money back. Is what I would say.
I'm just going to show the last campaign that we did again. Let's see. Do I have to do a?
Do I have to do? Oh, there.
Yeah. All right. So this is our last campaign. So the thing that people in KU specifically complain about is the hamster wheel. If you know what the hamster wheel is, then you know. If you don't, then it's the need to write new books once a month or once every 6 weeks or sometimes once every 2 weeks to like keep up with the algorithm. So I'm just going to scroll down here. This is all back catalog stuff. That is, except for one new book. It's one new book. It is all back catalog stuff. Otherwise, there's 2 people that paid $1,000. There's 1 person that paid $750. There's 1 person. There's 4 people that paid $475. So I mean, I don't even know what 475
You're at
times
like
4 plus
about like
750
4 or 5K.
2,000. That's between 4 and 5. It's 4,700.
Yeah.
And then you have this. Someone paid for again back catalog courses, so there's more. There's over 5,000. We had a retailer tier. We had it just keeps going. There's 9 books. That's another $1,100. So like it just keeps going down and down and down.
Right.
And like this is all back catalog books. This is one front catalog book. Everything else is back catalog. And if you're like, well, that's like your biggest campaign ever, then like I can take you to other books campaigns that have made. I mean, you can look through my whole account and just see like there's so much in the back catalog that like if you've got 13 books, like, whew, like that's a lot.
Yeah, so like Deanna Hart had posted earlier, she's like, I got this pen name, I got this pen name. like, here's the thing is like, you focus on one of the pen names, sure, and it's romance, but also like put your other books. I mean, as long as there's crossover between your two genres, like put your other books for sale as well. Cause this is something about retailers, and it's specifically about Amazon. Amazon is very, very good at like the super niche targeting. But what that means is that they are not going to show your books to, like, if you have a cozy paranormal mystery, and you are, promoting it or whatever, and you have a separate pen name for like, I don't know, paranormal suspense or something. And like those are two somewhat different genres, but Amazon will only show your cozy mystery book to other cozy mystery books. And then your paranormal suspense is only going to go to other paranormal suspense readers, and against other paranormal suspense books. So like that's great. And so then that teaches, so like everybody in the whole indie author industry is like, oh, cozy mystery readers only read cozy mystery. And it's like, it's not actually true. It's because that's how the one place where everybody sells books works, is that they purposely work to like niche you down into the cozy mystery. So you actually do probably have crossover, and on Kickstarter you can embrace that crossover, and so you'll have people who will buy the book, like Russell sometimes sells like nonfiction stuff on his fiction campaigns, and people still buy it, and it's like there is crossover. It just, you can't see it in the data on retailers.
Sure. And if you're a nonfiction person, you probably have courses or things you've recorded that you could bundle together, or like a group that you can do. Like we did the Sprint with Us group. Like you could do meditation for us, or knitting with us, or whatever the thing is for a premium option. So like, it works just so well. And in the Kickstart Your Novel, and in the Kickstart Your Novel Facebook group, I did a video yesterday of like literally just an hour of going through different projects. So like, yes, if you're a nonfiction, you should join this thing, because like we have learned, I mean, it revolutionized everything for me, this launch. So like, yes, 100%.
Yeah. Okay. So Laura says, my debut came out in March. I sold 220 copies in the first month. I have big dreams. Congratulations, Laura. I'm assuming you mean on retailers. You could mean on Kickstarter. I don't know. But congratulations. That's awesome. Kickstarter can help you go even further. Like,
and this is where you can do the limited edition hardcover. Like, now it's time for limited edition hardcover campaign, Laura. Like, that's exactly what.
Awesome. All right. So this Facebook user says, would you recommend splitting a Kickstarter for the audiobooks from a Kickstarter for the ebooks and hardcovers? It's a trilogy.
You want to take this, or should I?
Oh, I'm assuming that I am the moderator.
No,
you don't take it, but
no, you want to do ebook, hardcover, and audiobook in the same campaign. And here we go again, doing a screen share. So I'll just screen share this over here, and I'll go to this campaign. Nice thing about having like so many campaigns is just you have access to all of your previous things that you can look at. So I did this. This is what I would recommend. This is a great graphic from, I think, Cover Vault, but it was for an exclusive hardcover and audio drama. So I put the script for the audio drama in with it, but we did something exclusive, and we sold it at a premium. But this is the thing: one book at a time if you're doing audiobooks. One single book if you're doing this strategy. Do not do a trilogy.
Yeah. Unless you're Mallory Cooper, who did like 7 audiobooks at once. So our friends Mallory and Jill, they did 7 books at once, and it was like right as the pandemic was starting, I think.
Yeah.
And they raised 10K, but they have a very big audience. So
they would have raised so much more.
I know.
They so much more if they did.
Yeah, we've talked to them, and we're like, I mean, so first of all, we think they did amazing. But secondly, if the pandemic had not happened, and then also if they had done like some optimizations, and they're in the program as well. So if you join the program, they may be, I don't know if they'll post their stuff, but anyway, so we've talked to them, and we're like, we think we can help you optimize some of this stuff for your next campaign, because I think the pandemic hit the campaign and a couple other things, but yeah, we think they could have done a lot more to have funded. And this is a 10K campaign, so I want to be clear, they did an incredible job.
Yeah.
10K is like it's a lot of money on a campaign. So
yeah. So, and I'll tell you that when I do audiobooks, assuming I do audiobooks for the God's Verse Chronicles at some point, I'm going to do them one at a time for sure. Because like if I get 10 grand for one of them, I'll just be like, okay, cool. I'll put 2 and 3 in production right now.
Yeah.
But like there's no reason for me to go hard. And also if I want to do 2 or 3 or 4 campaigns a year, I'm just like, cool, for the next 7 years, I'm doing for the next 10 years, I'm doing a God's Verse Chronicles campaign. And maybe I'll do it for 2 or 3 at a time if I like have it. But for the first one, split it up, but split up the trilogy. So you're doing audiobook, ebook, hardcover.
Yeah, that's good. All right. We have a question from Nadine. Question for you. This is more for in the future. She wants to use it for a book. What could be, sorry, I've read that wrong. Could it be good? What are good ideas for Kickstarter for merchandise? Figurines or other?
I mean, my friend just did $500,000 in like a week for her plushes. Plushes are great. Pins are great. There's a lot of pin campaigns, audio drama or podcast starting to become a pretty good category. Prints or art books, world of books. And things that have what you're looking for merch is something that has a 10x profit margin. So like a pin, like you don't want to do it for, can't always do that. So like BookBox is probably going to get you like a 1 or 2x return. But like if you spend $100 on it and it gives you $200, like that's $100 is a good return on that kind of thing. So you want to, but that's what you're looking for merchandise. Is like a pin is great because it has a lot of value and it does not cost that much to get 100 of them. Challenge coins. So like those are the things that are special to your world. And like, you'll know this is going to be hard to hear if you're like at the beginning of your author journey, but like the best thing to do with merch is to wait until people are bugging you incessantly for specific kinds of merch and then do a campaign for that.
Right. I think scale is so important with merchandise. Like if you are going to do pins, I think I don't even know if you can order them in less than 100. So I just think like looking for those high margin items, which most of the print on demand merchandise is like extremely low margin. Like even like just like having, a site on like, or having like a store on like Printful, like you're making $1 or $2 per like shirt printed or whatever. So trying to get those shipped to you and then shipping them to your backers, like you're already in the red. So you really need to look at like what is not like a complete print on demand thing. We also have a list of vendors in the Kickstarter accelerator that Russell, not all of them Russell's used, but and it's like lots of people from the group are starting to contribute to it. So we have that, but yeah, I think we talk more about that in the group too.
Yeah, and like these, like something like a collector card,
drop cards.
Drop cards really good. You could do just the collector thing and charge $20, and it comes loaded with the ebook or audiobook or something like that. Like
and a lot of these things are from like cons too. So like as an author, I was like, what's a drop card? Like what's a pin? I did not know what it was. So, but go ahead.
You don't have to do a like a nice hardcover enamel. I started with like these soft enamel, which is a lot cheaper with no epoxy on it. You can go to Sticker Mule and they have some pins which are even cheaper than that options. So like you don't have to do like these ones cost about $3 a piece, but I charge $20 for them on a campaign, and like 20% of people take them. And so like I'll get like $100 extra, 100 extra just so I can sell them at shows.
Yeah. All right. The next question from Terlin, is it a good idea to run a Kickstarter campaign to get a cover or two for the other books in the series?
You always want to have the cover at least done. Like it is a good idea to have an exclusive cover for Kickstarter. But like you don't want to like you want to have that cover. Like you need to have the mock cover available.
Yeah, I think like maybe so you can clarify, Terlin, what your question is, but I am wondering, is the question also like, should I fund books 4 and 5 of a series with a Kickstarter for books 1 through 3? Since like one through 3 are already out or whatever, like maybe books 4 and 5 are not going to come out until it's profitable, basically. Like should I like do the first 3 to like get 4 and 5, which you've done.
So it's like masking, right? Because everyone is using every company that you have ever heard of is using money from today to pay for new stuff. But no one is saying like go buy a Big Mac so you can fund our like chicken nuggets. Like that's not how marketing or sales work. So like you can run a campaign for covers and like you always will be doing that. Like the books that we are releasing today are paying for pub production of books that are happening in sometimes 2 years from now. But like you don't want that to be the thing of your campaign. You want to say we're doing a hardcover exclusive, la 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 la, and then just like silently funnel that money into getting new covers. The other way is like Doom. No one wants to help you buy new covers. They all want a cool book or something like that, and like they will buy that. But all of those new cover campaigns, really, like they're very, very poorly trafficked, and one of the biggest mistakes that publishing books on Kickstarters makes.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, we actually, so we've been seeing it less, which is good, but we've definitely seen those campaigns that are like more of like a like help me like pay off my credit card bills type of campaign, or like help me get my new covers, or help me pay for my editing. So we're seeing less of that, so that's good.
Yeah, but like nobody has some people will have sympathy for that, but like people will just want to buy books. That's what they want.
I want to jump in here real quickly and just say that kickstartyournovel.com/accelerator, if you are not in the program already, you can learn more about it there. And there's a bunch of bonuses. So there's 3 bonuses, and they're on the page. So there's, and I don't have the page pulled up, but there's 3 bonuses for that. Just for joining the program. There's also 2 bonuses for the pay in full, and some of the stuff that we've talked about. So like one is like the vault, the copy vault of Russell's previous campaigns, and we give you like a prompt template, which is really cool.
If you share it, I have it pulled up.
Yeah, Russell can go through this. All right. So this is the page. So the bonuses are the audience building course. So this is for if you're starting at 0, kind of similar to me with my fiction stuff. But if you're starting at 0, this kind of gives you the gist of like how to get started with your audience building, because Kickstarter is not a magic platform. You do have to bring some people to the campaign to start out with, and then Kickstarter can usually match you. So if you bring 25 people, Kickstarter can bring another 25, is typically what we say. But this is the audience building course. So we also have the digital version of the book. If you haven't done that, that's bonus number 3. So a lot of people will have already had that. And then we have this other bonus, which is really cool. So a couple people asked about budget. We have our Kickstarter budget spreadsheet template, and then there's some instructional videos about how to create the profitable reward tiers. So, again, a lot of people a lot of authors are starting to launch projects, and they, you can put up big numbers, but is it profitable? And that's, I think, something that we talked about it at the beginning, and we also teach like how to be more profitable, and we're leaning into that more too, especially after seeing the possibilities with the last campaign. Whereas Russell has really never seen like a 70% profit campaign from Kickstarter before.
I mean, I'm used to 30% being good, but like I really, really,
And
really
it is
believe
good.
in I really believe in profit first. Like so my profit and no hassle. Now, other people make a different thing. And it's like, I want to use my friend does these big like $100,000 campaigns. And he's like, I will just am buying extra inventory for the holidays. So like, okay, whatever. Like that's your thing. Mine is like, so it's not like you have to do mine, but I very, very, very much want to be able to do my fulfillment in one day. So
yeah. So then the two painful bonuses, Russell's book. So it gives you an overview of his career. He has how to become a successful author, how to build a creative career, and you get them an ebook and audiobook. And then the second one is the Kickstarter copy vault, which we talked about. So you get all his marketing emails. It's literally like almost 200 pages from what he sent me. And we're going to kind of break them down so that you know how to adapt them to your own series, and then how often to send them. He's got a whole schedule, and we showed that on the webinar, so definitely check out the webinar because we gave some hints of that. We also we talk about it in the book too, so it's there, but we're gonna organize and get it way better. Super helpful.
And one of the most important things that people said were like, what are examples? And so these are the first time we're going to give like actual the literal example.
Yeah. And so this is the group bonus that we had talked about. This is bonus number 1. We already hit this. We've not put up the new bonus. We had talked about it earlier though. So we've already, gone past 50 people. We're a little bit past 50 people, and then we will, if we get to 100 people, which is kind of our cap. Like, I don't think we even want more than 100 new people in it because we are like super hands-on in the group. But 100 is like kind of the max that we can handle, and it's the most beneficial for the whole group because there's probably someone in your genre or like a nearby genre who's going to be launching within the same months as you. So that's kind of our goal. So you can, and then if we do that, then we'll unpack my whole campaign, which we have, we've never done. The only campaign we've really started to unpack in the group is the one that we did together. But, for Russell to like mentor me on like something that I haven't done in 5 years, that should be pretty interesting. And unpacking, like, I consider myself like somewhat marketing savvy. And so, like I could probably get to a decent amount of my own, but with Russell's help, we're really going to look at like how can we take somebody who has like no name, basically no fans, no audience, like how can we just make it like a much larger campaign than really it should be.
And plus two things that we should mention now, which is we have another bonus which is going away at the end of this call.
Yep.
So like whenever we're done with this thing, like it's going away. What is that one, Monica?
That one is the Plan Your Book Launch workshop. And so it's 2 hours. It's a workshop that we recorded. There were some people there live that we there was some interaction there. So you'll hear from them. But basically it goes through how to do a book launch is basically what it is. And I talked about it for retailers to some extent. And then I also gave a lot of Kickstarter numbers on it because a lot of people were there for the Kickstarter stuff. So even if you're not doing a Kickstarter right away, you can actually use the framework for how Russell launches, also for how I launch. It's kind of like blended together there, and you can use that framework on retailers, and it's kind of translated to make sense for retailers. It could also be helpful to you if you're really good at retailer launches. It translates it back to Kickstarter launches, and so you can see the numbers for that for Kickstarter. So that bonus it's for everybody who's already joined the group this time around, and then it's also for anybody who joins before we get off the call. And so the reason we say that is because we're going to keep answering questions, but we will have to cut ourselves off at some point.
Yeah. And so that's going away. That's a $97 bonus, I believe.
Yep.
And then the final thing, I'm just going to spill the beans, I think, on this one, which is like the course is going up.
Yeah.
Like next week, the end of next week.
Early bird pricing is ending.
Early bird pricing is ending. The course is going to go up to $7.99, right? $7.99, I think, next Saturday. So
well, next Wednesday. So
like
so in a couple days.
So like on Thursday, you come and get it. It's going to be $7.99 with none of these bonuses. If you do it now, however, not only do you lock in all of these bonuses and this price, but anything else that we unlock will also be something that like you get into as well. And there'll be other unlocks throughout the course of this thing. I'm telling you.
I mean, it's us. I mean, we're talking to somebody who does this on Kickstarter, so you can see some Kickstarter remnants in our launch too. But
so what was really cool is also Kickstarter will train you how to do a sales page. I'll train you how to like do launches other ways. Like we use a lot of the Kickstarter stuff. If you look at the accelerator page, is like stuff that can be incorporated there. Like it's a lot of the same stuff. There's testimonials and bonuses and like the sections are broken up with like nice big text, and like so all of those things are transferable. All right. Ready to get some more questions?
Yeah, let's do some more questions. Okay, so we are on to all right, how about this one? So DL Martone, with minimal newsletter subscribers and social media presence, how many followers to a pre-launch page would you want before actually launching?
Sure. Good question. So I would say like again, my numbers show me that 100 backers, 100 followers is $5,000. I don't know what that will be to you, but that would mean like if you want to raise $1,000, you would need 25 to 30 followers. If you want to raise 2,500, you need 50. And so the reason why you do a month is because you want to see, like Monica's had her campaign up, her pre-launch page up for a while. She's had 33 people to it. Like that is a very distressing number for me. But I also know that she's been focused on this stuff. So like,
but it is like, okay, so I did want to talk about this. So I'm sorry I'm interrupting, but so I have 33 followers. I actually have like 5,000, 10,000 people on my email list, but like that's like a reality check for me. I had hoped that I would get like a little bit more, and I've sent out a couple emails on it. And so what that tells me is that before I do my launch, I need to A, find new people who are actually interested in this, and B, like do a lot more work to try to convert my email list. And so there are ways to do that, but like it's just showing me like how much work I need to do. So if I had just launched the Kickstarter instead of doing the pre-launch page, I wouldn't have known any of that information, and I couldn't have fixed it ahead of time. And so that's one thing that's probably what Russell and I will work on, is like how can we fix that and get those numbers up before I launch this. And then
and that's why we have and in the group we have I have a video for the exact pre-launch sequence, and just like why we have a template. I know, like if you send those 4 emails and you've only got 20 people launching, like in the exact way that I say, like that's a big problem. If you send it and you have 200, and you have 10,000 people on your list, like that's a big problem. That shows me like that list is dead. And
that list is over. Yeah. You need to re-engage it. You need to, or it's just like it's not working somehow.
Yeah. But if I have 200 people, then I know, like this is exciting to people. Like this is going to be like a good, robust campaign. Like my copy's working, my pre-launch is, and what I'm doing is often pulling copy straight from the page and showing it and seeing how it converts to like actual followers. So like maybe it's, oh man, I got to work on that copy, or oh man, like I need to do more, or like whatever that thing is. And sometimes it's, you really just need to send to reopen. You just send to people who didn't open after 48. Like, I don't know. But like, I do have a sequence that I send you through in the group that like, if you do it and you don't have the track, then like, oh, that's going to be an issue, and that's where we're going to work. And it might mean going and doing book funnel promos. It might mean launching this one at a very low number, because here's the thing. Monica might have 33 followers, and that might lead to 50 backers, but those backers might be $5,000, because I don't know. Like, usually the people who are when you have very few followers, it means like you've got, those are the rabid people, and they're willing to spend a lot more money than like when you have 200, you've got a lot of like casual fans probably in there who are going to spend $5 or $1 or like whatever, or they back all of your campaigns, but they're not doing anything at like, so I also don't know, like we had somebody who got 87 followers, and that was or 87 backers, and that was $6,000. So we don't, those two pieces. Like, it might be you have 33 followers, you launch, you hit $5,000, and it's awesome. You might have 100 followers and it's $1,000. Like, you might have 200 backers and it's $12,000. So there's multiple things that we have to test. Once you're like a month out from the campaign, it's really hard to like find brand new people. So I would say, well, how do we get you into more promos, but also how do we book you? How do you get booked on like live streams? Like, where do you have access to people that you can do cross promotion with, or things like that?
Yeah. I mean, I think so in our group, like a lot of people did not do the pre-launch page. So I think some of that was just not having time to do the pre-launch and the full promotion sequence that we recommend. And so we're kind of slowing the group down a bit and doing that as like a whole month to encourage people to do it, because it will improve their campaigns. But I also think there's like a big fear with putting out that pre-launch page that we don't necessarily think of or address. And I think it's just like, it's a reality check, right? Like it would be much easier to just launch and like hope, like cross fingers, hope for the best. But the pre-launch page is a reality check, and there's a lot of those at every point in like Russell's system. Like he spends a lot of time reality checking himself, and so we teach you how to do that too. And the reality check for him and for me now, it's a good thing, because it means you can change things, you can fix them, and so I do think like, it's very easy to launch a book on Amazon. You can literally just post it, and like it could be not be doing well, and like nobody's gonna say anything, nobody's really seeing it. Like, where with a Kickstarter, you're putting yourself out there, there's like a big money like there's like a dollar sign at the top, there's a number of backers at the top, and there's a lot of fear that comes with that.
Yeah, it's true.
So so we got one from I think Chara Summerlin. What if you've never published anything? You have no prior experience using Kickstarter or Amazon. Would this be a good place to start?
Oh, okay, so I think me and Monica are going to have different answers for this one. Do you want to go first, Monica?
Sure. I think without having a book, so you can do like a group project, I guess, like an anthology, which is a lot of work, to kind of start building your stuff. But I don't know. I feel like without having a book, I don't know that I would do Kickstarter. So now Russell's going to tell you to do it.
I think that the simple reality is people that launch on Amazon are generally garbage at doing sales. They're also terrible at marketing. And like, even doing basic email sequences, they are atrocious at, as a whole, like 99.9%. Most people, even when they launch a book, they'll like put their ads on, they'll turn them on, and then they'll turn them off, and they'll send an email, and like that's their, if it doesn't work, it doesn't work, and then they're off to write the next book. And like, that's such bad marketing that like I like literally shiver thinking about it. Now, people make $40,000 at launch, like doing this thing. So like, that's like, I'm not saying that you can't be successful doing it. What I will say is, if you have never had experience on Amazon or Kickstarter, and you take our course and you take our accelerator, like, you will learn how to market and sell. You'll learn how to sell from me. You'll learn how to market from Monica, because Monica is amazing at marketing. I am very good at sales.
Yes.
We each have like
Just
50, 50,
wildly good at sales.
50% of this. And which is a thing, is like, I am not very good at doing marketing. So like Monica will look at me and say like, well, that's like, this is a ridiculous thing that you're saying. And I'm not saying you cannot be successful doing this, but I am saying like sales page, buying triggers, like copy that works. Like, you have to do it on Amazon. You have to do like 250 words. Like, you have to be very good at copy if it converts in this little bit. But like, in order to build a case, like, people, I guess that's really the thing that people on Amazon struggle with: building a case for why your book is cool. Like,
Yeah. I mean, so it really comes down to like, it's like retailer sales and direct sales are just very different. I think is what it is. Because like Russell's saying, with direct sales, you have all the space to make your case, and you have to make your case because you don't have a retailer supporting you in your launch. Whereas if you go on the retailer, they own most of your sales funnel. And so it's not that I would, and I know Russell doesn't mean it this way. He's not saying like all authors are like bad at marketing, because like that's not really what it is. It's really just that authors going on to, you know, if you've done like mostly Amazon, you haven't had to own most of your sales funnel because Amazon does a lot of it. All you've had to do is get Amazon to promote your book, which is also very, very hard.
yes, it's a different kind of marketing
It's a
skill.
very different kind of marketing style.
I guess,
like catalog sales versus, like,
yeah,
we call it like retailer catalog sales versus direct sales. And so we see people all the time, like they're like super marketing savvy, they're like great on retailers, and then they come over to Kickstarter and they struggle with it because Kickstarter does not own your sales funnel. Like, you own your sales funnel and you have to do all the parts of your sales funnel. So then you have to learn how to do all those parts of your sales funnel that you typically have done by retailers.
Yeah, okay. Maybe we can agree to this. I'm going to twist the thing. Is people are authors who launch very well on retailers are often very bad at getting people to buy into them as a brand.
Yeah.
Like, and their work.
Mm-hmm.
And what Kickstarter shows you is how to build super fans. Like, it's like finding casual readers is like, I just did this mastermind with Monica and her people, and I still don't know how to get casual readers. Just like, I guess I'll try it. So like, I'm doing all of this new stuff to find casual readers. What Kickstarter shows you is like how to build a super fan.
Yeah,
someone who's like, yes, true. I want to spend $50. Yes, I want to spend $100. And maybe those are the two kinds of marketing. And I think people that are doing Amazon are not great at that piece of it.
Yeah, I think I think like some people are, so it's like not like everybody on Amazon who isn't good, but like I think as a whole the indie author industry is learning how to go deeper with their fans through like Kickstarter and Patreon and some of these other platforms, and direct sales, which I think all of these platforms fall under.
Yeah,
and I think that's where you can learn a lot from Russell, because he's been doing direct sales this whole time, basically.
Yeah, I mean, I was really shocked going down to this mastermind with like 6-7 figure authors that we were in, and they were like, I've never done direct sales. I don't know how to do. And I was like, oh my God, like you are one of the most successful authors in the category you're in. And like
you do direct sales.
Like you have a huge like author community. You have a huge like reader community and stuff. And still like, you're still basically just sending these people to like Amazon. And so, yeah, I'm going to recant all of the things that I said before, because like, it was like, and make a more directed messaging, which is like, what Kickstarter will show you is how to build a fandom in yourself, that you own the whole supply chain of communication.
Right.
And one of the keys with Brandon Sanderson's launch was he has the infrastructure. Like John Scalzi wrote a post that's like, I can't do what Brandon Sanderson did ever, because Brandon Sanderson has a bookstore. He has a distribution channel. He has 20 years of sending out stuff in a distribution funnel. And so if people are like, how's he going to get 4 books out? It's like he literally owns a bookstore that does like a lot of business. Like he does merchandising, he does all of this stuff. And it meant that people were more comfortable getting that from him. So yeah, I'm walking back all the stuff I said. And just
I don't think you have. I mean, I think like we kind of clarified, and like we want authors to be doing both, right? Like we want people to be super successful on retailers, and we also want them to be super successful with direct sales. Like Brandon Sanderson is not quitting traditional publishing. He's like collecting 2 checks, you know, and that's what we want for indie authors. Like we want you to collect like not just 2 checks, we want you to collect 15 checks, but you know, we want you to be able to do that so that you have a long career.
Yeah, we want you to have
you know, making a lot of money. That's something that is kind of a revolution for authors to do, you know, and like when we make money, we pour it back into like other creative endeavors and other creative people's careers. You know, we show that creativity is like something really valuable. We pour it into our families. Like we're all like good people. Like we should be making more money. Well, I won't say we're all good people, but like I've not really seen like a creative get a ton of money and not like pour it back into the creative community like Brandon Sanderson did. We saw that.
Yeah, and just I mean, like if you were like just a person who was out for money, like you should go do something else because like there's way better ways to make $1. Like this is
like all of them are like
like
most people leave if they're in this to make money. Yeah, cool. Okay, so all right, this Facebook user says I read your book, watched the webinar, loads of stuff about Kickstarter, sounds super exciting, and I'm so tempted. Would love to join, but I'm in the EU. Is it viable for postage costs to the US? So I'm gonna pause.
We have comics. This is more a comics thing, but we do have people that do comics stuff in the EU and ship to the US. Now, there's a couple of options that you have. One is you find a friend who is in the US. And you do a swap where like you'll do their fulfillment in the EU and they'll do your fulfillment in the US. I don't know if I said that right, but you know what I mean. Like and then the second, and then you'll just ship it from the US Ingram or Mixum to like their house, and like you'll pay for their thing and whatever their time and all of that stuff, and then they'll do it for you as well. You know, you want to do a relatively similar campaign. There's also places that are professional like ShipBob and others that will fulfill for you. They tend to need a bigger unit price, but that is possible. And what you would do then is you would ship all of the merch, and all you would ship is book plates. So you would print book plates in the EU. You would ship the book plates to the person, and that's the only international shipping that you have.
Yeah, because assuming you're going to sign it, you could also do unsigned copies, but assuming you're going to sign the book plate, ship it, and then somebody else is going to pack it for you.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, this is a question we get a lot. I also think that like as we grow our group, like our Kickstarter accelerator program, and like other people are doing stuff too, and that's cool. But there are just definitely more authors using Kickstarter, and I think that solutions will like we kind of got to show as a community that like we are using Kickstarter, and then what happens is companies come in and they see like an opportunity to do some of this stuff, and they start to solve these problems. Or like a company that already exists in the community is sometimes like, hey, like I'm seeing this real opportunity over here. And so I think that's where, you know, within a couple of years this is going to be a solved issue for a lot more creators. For now, I think that our group is one of, you know, it's going to be one of the places where this is solved more because there are going to be people to exchange with.
And there are a lot of printers that will, like there's a printer in Florida that will fulfill your Kickstarter for you. This is in the comic book space, but you know, printers print other stuff. So like there are some, there's a company called Black Box that will do it. Usually for large run orders. I have a friend who does it, who's told me I can only give her information out to people in the accelerator group because she's getting so busy. So that is a person. I'm about to add another one. Literally, right as we're talking, I'm remembering
Yeah,
other people. So I'm literally going in as we were asking, being like, "Oh yeah, I just have the
right.
vendor list open, so I can just keep adding things to it."
Yeah, yeah, and there's going to be somebody in the community like who's like more kind of like more in like a PA or services position, or like wants to be more in a PA services position, that's going to say like, "Hey, I'm going to start like fulfilling these Kickstarters for
Oh
people."
yes, especially if like we can have
If we
like
have
a
like people
we
to
have
funnel them, yeah,
yeah, then why would they not do that? Like they're already
right.
making like they're already uh doing that. So yeah.
Mhm. Yeah, totally. Okay, so then first campaign relying on people I know in the EU, would you have to pay that on top of Kickstarter tier prices? Yeah, you do. So we are not going to give you tax advice. Like people have asked us about that. Well, first of all, neither of us are even in Europe, so we're not even that familiar with that. But you got to talk to your tax person. But yeah, like this is a direct sales channel. So like you got to think about taxes. This is, like a retailer will take the taxes out for you and handle all taxes for you. You need to figure out taxes when you're working with Kickstarter.
But if you send your books from the US to a fulfillment place in the US, like then it's just US, I believe. So like they're you want to ship them in the US and then you want to ship them in the EU with EU UK people and then Australia maybe even like that. And again, like as we grow, if you join the group, then like there'll be people that like are in the Australia and in the EU, and we have this happen I'm in another group for specifically comics Kickstarters, and this is what happens. Like they'll be like, hey, like does anyone want to give me their EU shipments, and I'll do the ones in the US or something like that. So.
Yeah,
And you can also
definitely.
do a digital only campaign. That was the third thing. You can just do digital
Yeah.
only and do. There's a lot of cool stuff you can do digital only. Audio commentary can be digital only. A special edition ebook, signed ebook can be digital only. Like there's a lot of stuff, and there's some people that are doing some really cool stuff with digital only campaigns, especially out of Australia. They end up being much smaller, but like you also have no fulfillment cost.
Yeah, yeah, and so if you're watching this and you have a question, make sure you so it really cuts it off. So you can probably see that on our screen. It cuts your question off. So try not to type a novel. Try to keep it at like one or two sentences, because then we'll see the whole thing. Because I have no idea where this comes. I mean it's on Facebook somewhere, but that could be like 5 different places because we're streaming to a bunch of them. So we don't know what the rest of this comment says. So sorry. But I think hopefully we answered your question though. Okay, so this comment is I'm looking for examples of audio commentary for fiction books. Having trouble finding examples. Can you talk more about what you include and discuss in yours? So, in
I'm
this,
not going to do this outside of the group, but like I will tell you that there is an audio commentary inside the group and a book inside the group. You can go to the files. I believe we talked about this earlier today when you asked the question in the accelerator group. Like you can literally just go and listen to the one that I've done, and there's a video on it in the accelerator group. So
yeah, I think it was someone else who asked about it in the accelerator group, maybe.
sorry, then maybe it's just a bunch of people at the same time. Here,
Yeah,
I'll
I
show
think
you.
I think people yeah, I think people were confused about that because
Here,
we've been mentioning it.
I will show you if you're in the accelerator group where to go. Okay, are you
Oh
sharing
yeah,
the screen? All right,
yeah, I'm sharing
so
screen now. Let me
accelerator
take this
group,
down.
accelerator. We check, so don't just look at this and like be like, oh, I can go there now. In the files, there is a. Why did it not get updated? Well, oh wait, I do know. Final print. I think then there's an audio.
I was in like comments or something.
Yeah, I uploaded it. Oh, maybe it's in the videos. This is maybe why people are confused because now I don't know where to go. All right, better question than I thought. I definitely uploaded it. I uploaded a lot of stuff. So
Yeah,
let's see
so we have to find
videos.
that.
Um,
Yeah, here's the audio commentary since they asked. but I do not see like
Do
a.
you hear it?
I don't hear it. Is it playing
Oh, yeah.
videos? Oh, okay.
All right.
Yeah,
So
it's in your headphones.
I'm now going to go to files and put it right here where it says edit post. I did put. So you can find it in media videos. And then it's this one that says in media videos right here, this one right here.
The
And then
dragon face.
it's paired right there. We're gonna do it better in the
And Teachable, yeah.
in Teachable.
Yeah,
We'll do it better. But yeah,
we're
it's
disorganized.
there. You can see it. You can listen to it. You can fall in love with it, or be like, "Wow, really? People are willing to spend this much money for this kind of thing?" It's totally very easy. So I will take a book. I'll show you. Very easy. I'm going to show you. I said I wasn't going to show you, but
I
I'll
know.
show you.
I was gonna say, are you?
I'll take a book and I'll say, "Welcome to the audio commentary for Dragon Scourge." I'm going to walk you through. In case you don't know, I'm going to have the book in my hand. I'm going to call out chapters and page numbers when I can. Sometimes I'll forget, but I'm going to do my best. And so then I'll be like, okay, so chapter 1. All right, so this first Today I Will Die was a really easy one for me. Like it came to this first lines are like so important for me when I write a book. Unless I have unless I have the title, usually a cover and a first line, like I won't even start a book. And so Today I Will Die was something that came even before I know. And what happened with the cover before then is like I had a cover designer and she posted this cover. I think it said the dragon. I think it might have even said the Dragon Scourge. It may have been this exact cover. And like I was like, I have to buy that cover. I just have to do it. And like then I had the cover, and that's when I came up with the first line. So anyway, I'm not going to go through the whole thing, but like that's like what, and then I'll go through and I'll be like, okay, chapter 2, chapter 3, da 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 da, and I'll go through it. They end up being about 30 minutes to an hour and 20 minutes, depending on like how much information there are and how long the thing is.
Yeah. Yeah, I do want to say more about it, but I shouldn't, because we said we weren't gonna say more about it. But cool. So I just want to we have a couple more questions. If you have a question, definitely drop it now, because we're kind of closing out the questions and we're going to close up the live stream. But we do want to let you know, kickstartyournovel.com/accelerator if you want to join the program. And we did have a couple people who did join. So here's one Facebook user. So I know who this is, but since it's not showing, I won't say. But yeah, thanks for answering our questions and signed up for the Accelerator. So yeah, we're excited to have you. Okay. So here's the question: if I enter with the plan, but I want to pay in full to have the bonus, is it possible? Yeah. So we've had a couple people ask that. So what I've been doing is like, just email me at igniterstv@gmail.com. So what I'll do is I'll just refund your payment plan, and then you can purchase, and I'll follow up if you don't do it within a couple days, basically, because we'll pull you out of the group and stuff if you don't have a plan with us or a payment with us on file. So, but yeah, you can do it. You can get the bonus. But all the bonuses, the painful bonuses, if you do that. So definitely.
Yes.
All right. Have a couple. So we had this international author friends interested in joining, but they're concerned about fulfillment and shipping costs. How would they approach this? Yeah, I think we answered this question, I feel like.
Yeah, if you still have questions specific to it, please ask. But like, since I know you've been here this whole time or most of the time, like,
I think this was in the queue before we answered it. Yeah.
If you still have them though, please.
Yeah. So yeah, actually, we are completely done then with with our questions. So if you have more questions, definitely drop them below. Did you want to share anything? Oh, did we want to talk about objection, some of the objections people have, or
Yeah, I mean, so I think the one that is the most, so there's a couple that are the most common, I think. I'm gonna leave the pricing one to the bottom because like we can, like there's a lot of stuff we can say about pricing. But like I think the most important one to get through is I've been part of a lot of courses and they're all terrible. And why should I spend money on your course? And I will tell
yeah.
you, Monica and I have probably been in all of those courses. Like between the two of us, we've probably been in all of those courses and been sorely disappointed. So, Monica, do you want to talk about how this is different before I chime in, or?
Sure. Yeah. So okay. So here's the thing: is like I had kind of quit even like doing courses because I was like, I'm not very good at them. Like I'm like mildly okay at them. They sell fine-ish, but like I like doing them, but I don't love it, and I'm not clearly not like naturally good at it. So I'm gonna quit doing courses. And so I went to like I only did books for like the nonfiction or my nonfiction stuff for the author audience, and was not doing any courses. So then we kind of stumbled into this course model that I had never done before, but it was basically it's basically like unpacking what we do through a series of videos and mentoring people through the same steps. So we started out doing these accountability posts and having people actually post their little portion of whatever, like we asked them a question. It's very similar if you did the 5-day challenge. We do that, but just for 4 months with people. And we just say like, post this. And so we really we break down your Kickstarter project into these tiny little chunks. And then you post them, you get feedback on them. And as you do that, like, even if you just did the 5-day challenge, we kind of know a lot about your business already at this point. Because we actually probably looked you up, or we looked at your project. We looked at these 5 elements of your project. And so I think that's what's different about it, is just that we are there doing really giving you personalized feedback, and these are long long comments. Also, the other thing we do is if we see people we do it as a cohort. So then if we see sections where people are struggling, we go back and we really correct, we say oh, these are the patterns we're seeing, where people are hitting a wall. And then we just make sure it's kind of like a no Kickstarter creator left behind type of thing, where we make sure that you're kind of on track.
Well, I think it's really important that we do the cohorts because it means other people are. So for me, the problem is a lot of the time, people will have a community associated with their course, and it's bad. And it's bad. Maybe not. I mean, I've done it, and I have one for one of my courses, and it's a very bad community because A, there's 11 people in it, and B, nobody ever posts. Right. So one of the things that really makes it different is people actually post in our group. And there are tangible things that we're all going to, because a lot of these courses are kind of more ephemeral in the hey, we're going to help you build your audience. Whereas this is you're going to run a Kickstarter. It's going to go one way, and we're going to help you make it better. And so there's just a lot more things that we can optimize also than in a normal group. I mean, I think I've done, I'm the same human that was doing the other ones. And I was I can't pay people to post in this group. But this one, people are very engaged because it's a novel concept. It's also learning. It's almost like a learning to do direct sales thing. We're being very sneaky about teaching you how to be aggressively wide, which is our real thing. Our real thing is aggressively wide. Monica has a bundle that's the aggressively wide bundle. And when I think of aggressively wide, I'm okay, so you're on KU. That's KU. You're wide. You're on retailers. Maybe in Scribd and all those other places. Aggressively wide is nope, I also got a Patreon and a Kickstarter, and I sell on my website, and I go to conventions, and I do all of this other stuff. So Kickstarter is great because there is an engine. There's an engine. Like there's an engine you can game, and it's honestly a pretty unsophisticated engine. So like it's like Amazon 1998. I don't know, like a long time ago as far as sophistication.
Yeah.
And also it
Yeah.
has personal curation. And so there are actually a lot of things for authors to get excited about. But what they post a lot is like, you said audio commentary, but like, what does that mean? And then I go, here's what it means. Here's an audio thing. Here's a this thing. Here's a that thing. Here's the other thing. Or like, it's a lot of translation things. And so, and also just the community, like I've been doing this a long time. I've done a lot of communities, and like, I've done a lot of these courses that are bad and good and nebulous. And like, they're always like, when you have the community is so easy, like they're so great, they're so loving, they're doing all this stuff. And I was like, I've never had a community like that. And like,
yeah, like,
yeah, it's even my reader community on Facebook was like kind of dead, except when I posted funny memes. And I was like, it was never about like a focus of my work or anything like that. So like, I was like, I don't know what you're talking about. So I closed most of my things. And then we did this one. I was like, what do I expect? And like literally from day one, like people were in there, they were engaged, they were excited, like they were asking a lot of us. Like they ask way too much of us sometimes, but like they want so much, and that they're so committed that like that makes it different. And that is what makes the Facebook group work. Honestly, it's the people that are inside are like all very like motivated.
So all in. Yeah. And I think when, I mean, it's not, I don't think it's a people. So yes, like people ask more of us than we thought it would be. But I think we also, like, again, we really, like, I know people say this, but like, we did not think we were doing this, like, Kickstarter accelerator. Like that was not our plan. Like we were literally like, we're going to do a Kickstarter on this. We're done. And like, it's dead. Like, we're not going to sell anything else after that. But I think what we saw is that there's a lot to learn to do a Kickstarter. And so and like the people who really, like, that's why I'm always like, wow, I can't believe like these 20 people like actually went all in and like did this. Cause when I look back at it, I'm like, wow, there was so much to learn. And so the good thing is that we've heard all these questions. Like we have created, and like every time there's like a question, Russell pretty much just makes another video about it, to be honest.
Or
like he's done
20
bonus videos or something.
Yeah.
Even though he's like, this is the last bonus video.
Like, or upload.
It's not the last bonus video.
I think I just stopped doing that. I think I just stopped saying the last one, but like, or I'll upload something to someone was like, what's an audio commentary? And I was like, well, you can go and buy it. And I was like, no, I'm just going to upload it. So like, I'll upload a thing or like something that'll do this. And like, I think we've done really well also making it practical now.
Mm-hmm.
I think the book is very theoretical. There are practical moments in it, but like it's a very theoretical book, and it's huge. It's like 400 pages. It's way bigger than Monica. So Monica used to chastise me for having a 250 page book. And we have a 400 page book. So like there's just a lot there, and like there's a lot to get through, and like being part of the group like makes sense because there's so much to get through, and like we try to do the best we can drawing the dots on paper, but like it's very hard to be like, this is how this connects that you read in chapter 10, and then come back here and do this thing. Whereas with the videos, I can just be like, okay, this is from part 3, part 4, part 6, and part 8, and like here's how we all combine this into doing like a super stack reward.
Yeah, that is another thing. Like people, because people have asked us like, what, like I have the book, it was 400 pages, you made it sound super easy in the book, and like it is a very theoretical book. There are very few case studies in there, and I think something that people like, the problem with the book is that it's almost too good at convincing you that you can do a really great Kickstarter project, when like there are like 100 things that you have to do well, and people have done okay with it. Like I want to be clear, people have done okay with the book, but like every time, like almost every time we look at somebody who were like, we know that they have the book because we have a list of people who have bought the book, and they like backed it, and like we know that they're not in the group or they're not in the group yet. Like a lot of the time, that person who did the book, like we can see like, oh man, they would have doubled it, or if they because they it convinces you that you fully understand the material. And even I feel like I don't fully understand the material all the time. Like I still, like, even me, I still feel like I can go deeper on the Kickstarter stuff and like understand more about it. And like even when Russell posts a new video, sometimes I'm like, holy shit, like I never like I never connected this. And so I just think
And that's it
yeah,
too. Like the connective tissue is the thing that the group gives you. Is like
yeah.
I've looked at a lot of campaigns. I just made this connection whilst you were talking. Is like what the people that have the book have is a very technically correct campaign. It like has the pieces that we want, but like there is no connective tissue to the psychology underneath that undergirds everything.
Right.
There's just like, I saw Russell had a $40 book, so I'm going to have a $40 book. I'm going to have a $20 this. And like, there's nothing wrong with that. But like the thing that the group gives you is like the psychology of, whoa, like, oh, you do this for this reason. And once you know that someone does this for X for Y reason, you can say, well, I think that it would work better for my audience to do this instead. And we had, to go back to Inez's, Inez, I think was the person, like when we were doing the point for the imagery, I think it was her that posted like a completely off the wall thing that I would never said. It was like just like legs and like in grass, but like it was so compelling because it was clear that she understood the psychology part of it, so that when I said X, she said, oh, well, I have an ad. I have an image that that would work really well to fix this particular point. And that's what I'm going to use instead. And we find a lot of like, frankly, dead-eyed imagery, like where it's like, technically this is looking front and technically the eyes are looking at you but like there's nothing behind you. So there was one, not to call out this person, there was like a Civil War one that like was just like there was grass behind this person and like they weren't standing out from the background and like, but technically they were on a horse looking forward. And I was like, that's not like that's technically correct, but that's not actually doing the thing that we want to do.
Yeah. And like Inez, like, so she's definitely like a superstar. Like she's a very, very 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 savvy author. So I do want to say that. And like for her specifically, just knowing her work, like and she's she's in the program, but I'm like, yeah, totally go off book because I know that you know what you're doing. But like I will say, like, for Russell has like a huge, like extensive sales background. I have an extensive marketing background. Like we're talking like decades in these fields. And so, you're not going to get everything we're doing from a book. Like you're just not, you're not going to get it unless, and like, that's why we are so hands-on in the program. Like we literally are not even really ready. Like we can't hire somebody yet. And some, we hope like maybe someday we could hire somebody to help us, comment on stuff and all that. But like, that's why we're so hands-on in the program. That's why we're only doing 100 people at a time. Because we have those backgrounds that like make a real difference. And like he and I were speaking the same language on this stuff too. And we pretty much, like, we're pretty much on the same page. Like rarely do we disagree. And then when we do, I'm always like, just do what Russell says.
Or do which one feels best for you or something like that. But yeah, I mean, that's like, we are also doing like my opinion. So I did this video called The Case for Your Book, which was like the whole pre-launch. And like, it's something I've been thinking about for years. And I was like, and it finally all clicked. And like, it only clicked for me of how to make that video or how to talk about it. Like 2 days ago. And then I made a video for it. So like we wrote the book 6 months ago. And
Mm-hmm.
Monica has always told me the reason why you don't want a very long book is because people then think that they have the entire program that you
Yeah.
need. And we bucked
Well,
that trend because there were just so much to do in there, and we wanted it to be great, and we wanted this to be like the definitive thing for like people launching books, and we wanted you to be able to say, read this book, and like that's what you need, and to be able to go to our YouTube channel and to pick it all out and pick all of the little like pieces out from it. But what the course does is allow you to say, hey, on chapter 12 you said this. Someone said this the other day. Actually, she bought the course. She bought one of my other courses and was like, hey, so this says this, and the answer to this test question says that. Like, which one is right? And like, it was a question I'd never gotten before. And I was like, oh, well, like this one is right. And it gives you that immediate, well, within reason immediacy, like response to saying, how does this work for me? Which is like the ... because it gives you the play-by-play of how it works. Like the book gives you the play-by-play for how it works, but like every campaign, I've never seen a campaign that like everything was the exact same from a different campaign. Like every audience is different. The words you use for your audience, like, you might call them igniters and I call them wannabes, or like whatever thing, like you might have different bonuses. Like you might do pins and be like, pins are terrible. Like I'd never do a pin, but I like, it's a brooch that I need. And like those little eccentricities are like what you get in the group. And the reason that we charge money and why it's going up in like Wednesday and then going up even more for the next cohort is like there's like so much that goes into this. This is almost the reason the book's 400 pages is like it's literally teaching you how to do direct sales.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's our guide kind of to do. And when Monica kept telling me like, oh, it's 250 now, I'm not even close to done. It's 300.
I know. It was a tough project. Let's say that.
Yeah. And we got it to 400. Monica got it to 400 pages. And like, that's so many pages, but it's because like we kept having to add things to teach you direct sales. So from this course, you're going to get a lot of like how Monica said it great in the webinar or wherever she said it last. I think it was the webinar. She's like, now I know how to do direct sales like on my website. And I knew
Yeah, you're gonna it really is. It's like you're actually learning direct sales, launching, and then marketing and sales funnels and product funnels too. Like you're kind of like getting a crash course in an MBA, but for digital stuff. Which I have an MBA in like corporate like corporate whatever. And Russell's got like he was a sales manager and like so it's like we have those backgrounds too, but you're getting like the crash course of like sales and marketing business in this program, and it's wrapped up and packaged as like do well on Kickstarter. So and which is a good thing. Like we're giving a container of like an actual project because you'll learn much faster. But like once you do your first project, you're going to be like, oh, like I get how to do direct sales. I get how to do marketing. And we're seeing that with our people now too. Like one of our people just did a 6K campaign, and she's basically like, I understand how to do like a 10K campaign next time. And I understand how to do my marketing on Amazon better. And I understand how to do direct sales. And I understand, and like just a lot of stuff is connecting for her now. And I think to some extent, like it can be the start of your career, like in many ways, or like a turning point in your career. And we've had multiple people in the program say that it was the turning point. Yeah. Like maybe not the definitive turning point in their career, but it is a turning point in their career where they went from like, $50 to $100 a month, and now they're like, I know how to make thousands of dollars a month, and I know how to grow from there, because the foundation that we're laying in this program is so it's so strong in all those areas.
Yeah, we've had people say, this is the day my business became a business because I now know how to break even or make a profit at launch on projects. But also it's people that have done well on the hamster wheel. just keep calling it the hamster wheel because like I like that like they're doing very well, or they did well 2 years ago and suddenly it like dropped off and they're like, I don't know, I just spent 5 years building my business on Amazon and now Amazon doesn't work. Or like, and there's been people in the groups being like, I have to go all in on this because like I know that I can bring my audience here. Like I know that I can like make 50 grand making the books I want to make. And like, so even if you're using, whether you're using KU and like maybe it's not working as well, or maybe you're like, I really don't want to write a book a month, or you have a backlist, or you have a weird project that you just like kind of want to write. Like the book I'm writing now is like an esoteric metaphysical screed, and I'm very bitter about almost dying a couple months ago, and like I'm putting a lot of anger into that, and like 100 people are going to buy that book maybe. But like this, I mean, I do want to show this before I go. Yeah. Like there's a I'm just gonna keep going to my, and granted, I know my audience really well, like really, really, really well, and like I know the floor of what pretty much like I could put anything on it, like, and they would back.
You mean on Kickstarter?
Yeah, I put anything on Kickstarter and like they would buy it. Like, because there's some people that love, and hey, we've all got authors like that. Like, we've all got authors that are like, I'm going to buy whatever they do. I have an auto buy for like anything that Melissa Albert or Alex Harrow or Stephanie Garber or Charlie Jane Anders, any of them put out. Like, I'm there. But like, okay, so we had this audio campaign which raised $5,000, which like I think. That was like to fans, but like I think there was still like some overlap. But like I'm gonna show you this project. So like this project is a book that I drew, 2 books that I drew. Like it's a sci-fi, not fantasy. I don't think I've ever sold 1 copy outside of like this Kickstarter or convention tables. So like I drew it over the course of like a year. I drew another one, this other one, like it's got a lot of comedy and it's funny and like it's got like a lot of absurdist things and like I love it. But like this is clearly for super fans who like in fact I only ran it for 5 days because I didn't want anyone to find out that was not a super fan of mine. Like I did not want this to be the first thing that they have of my work. But like $3,500 we raised for this book from almost 200 people.
That's incredible. Like I thought that was your 1K campaign, but now I'm like, whoa, it's the 3.5K campaign.
Yeah, and I wasn't even going to do this book, but at some point, I was working in a book with Cameron Lapka, and like I was like, you know, I want to test you to see if we can work together for long term. So how about you letter this book? And she ended up doing the work for Black Market Heroine. And she did a great job on the lettering for this. So like, it was like kind of a test. And I was like, I'm just going to run it. It cost me like $750 or something like that to get the lettering. Cost me like another $200 or $300 to get all the stuff. We did this cool 2-inch pin. And like we sold it all for like $40 and like it's like $42. And like, you know, there's like not tons of backers for it, but we had people who bought sketches from me and commissions, and just like it was definitely a fan service campaign. But like that book would never work anywhere ever like maybe they're not.
I think it's a cute book though. I actually really like that book, but I mean I haven't read it. I just like that you drew a book and like illustrated it yourself, and like they're really cute characters. And
yeah, I think that anyone can do stuff like that. Like,
yeah.
This is the series that Monica messaged me. We've known each other for years beforehand.
This is why we are doing this. This was where it started.
Yeah, because me and Monica had known each other for years before this, and then I put this campaign up, and it went gangbusters, like $10,000, almost $10,000, and it's 4 books in 4 different genres, for 4 different audiences. And like she messages me and it's like, how are you doing this?
Yeah, it's true. And like we were talking to my like one of my groups of friends at this thing we were at recently, and I was like, do you remember, I was asking one of the women, do you remember that I was like talking about this for like an hour on our call? And she's like, yes, I do. i'm like I'm like, see, Russell, like I literally was asking like everybody like what is going on here, because
Yeah.
the reason why is because, and I talked about, if you read the book, there's like a little anecdote about this campaign specifically. That was like, these are 4 different books. Like, I mean, like, not like they should not, like, people should not be buying them next to each other. And that was something that I realized was incorrect, because obviously Russell proved this completely wrong. He raised 10K from this, and I think that's why I was saying earlier that, like, because the indie author community is so entrenched in the way retailers work and the way retailers sell books. We have this belief, and it's common sense, like, best practice or whatever, that a cozy mystery reader is like a cozy mystery reader, and that's all they buy. And it's just completely like there probably are many people like that, but there is like such a good chunk of the market, and I think so many authors themselves are these people, are part of this like larger market of people who they don't even know genre. Like, I have been a lifelong reader, and I don't think I even knew what genre was until I was in my like mid 20s and trying to be an author at that point.
Yeah.
So there are people who just they don't know genre, they don't care about genre, and there's lots of money for authors in that. And so I think, the focus on retailers and the way retailers work is actually pretty damaging to so many of us in terms of like our finances, because there's like this whole other direct sales channel where people don't care. Like, they're not like, oh, I'm a cozy mystery reader. They're like, I like books, like I like mysteries or whatever.
Sure.
And they're just very basic, or like, oh, I like when there's like talking cats in the book,
Sure.
So I read what was that one, young adult, it was like Philip Pullman's book, and it got made into a movie.
The Golden Compass ones?
The Golden Compass, yeah. So there's like, I don't know if there's a talking cat, but there's like familiars in that book,
Sure.
Essentially, or like the concept of familiars. So like that person, they read that young adult fantasy book. There's kind of like, it's not really dark, but and then they read like some cozy mystery book, and like they're good with that too. And then they read some thriller thing that's like contemporary. And like there's so many of those readers, and retailers don't really encourage you to sell to those readers. So if you write cozy mystery, retailers are only showing those books to cozy mystery readers. And you have readers that are outside of cozy mystery that will like your books that you're not selling to, and that you basically can't sell to on Amazon because Amazon doesn't let you. So,
yeah. So I was very confused about this for a long time. Monica literally for years was like, I didn't realize it until I started putting books on Amazon and being like, oh, this is not how it works, like on Amazon. Because like for me, I put whatever I want and like people buy it, and like I'll show you. Because what always happens at this point is people go like, yeah, Russell, but like you've been doing this a long time,
yeah,
the $40,000. So this is my first 4 campaigns. Okay, so this is a post-apocalyptic book, Ichabod Jones Monster Hunter, which we since have gone on to do 4 volumes of. And it raised $5,400, which is pretty good, but like we definitely did not break even on the production cost. We got like a print run out of it. I don't even think the print cover is that good. But like it was apocalyptic. It was our first thing. I spent like 5 years building the audience for this. So just so you know, like I went to every comic thing that I could find and like started talking to people. And like I've made friends, and like I built a community of people who like believed in this book from 2011 to 2014. And also we had to launch on a publisher. But like it's going to be a little, like, you can tell, like, this is like a monster book. It's like kind of gory and gross. And like, I don't think this cover is even the best. Probably would never do this cover, like, as far as the image goes right now. Here is campaign number 2. We grew from there. This is Monsters Apocalypse. This is Monsters Apocalypse. So like we did $8,700 for this one, but like it is a kind of different style. But like, watch this. Like, this is a mystery novel told all in blog posts. Like, it is literally nothing stylistically, genre, nothing like the first two books. And we did 155 backers, $3,500. And just look at this image. This image is so bad. It's so bad. Doesn't even have the full name for the book on it. Like, I love this cover. Like, this is one of my favorite covers of all time, but like, it is a terrible Amazon cover. Because very small, it looks like nothing. It's supposed to look like a diary, and it does. And like, I love this artist, but like, this is not a good Amazon cover, and it's still raised like $3,500. In a very different genre. And then finally, the fourth, this was actually the fifth one, because we did like I also did, I guess I have to do all five because I did the four. So the fourth one,
I remember this campaign.
The fourth one was a kid's book about tooting. No monsters in it at all. I just was, and I was confused as to why we were going down from like, now I know it's like, dude, put monsters in your books. People will buy it if it's a kid's book. If you're gonna do a kid's book, definitely don't make it about farting. Make it about monsters farting, not just farting. This is also a book I didn't write or do the art for. So like, and we still raised $2,000 for it, like breaking even on the production cost as well for this one. Then we did this book. Now this is like, just like, I'm ashamed of this campaign and this cover, not because I don't love the cover. I love this cover, but it is so off brand. It is so off market. It says spaceships. There's barely a spaceship in this whole book. Like, people have got on me for years until I changed the name to Sorry for Existing. In fact, it brings me to, I have to show you the actual cover for it now. Like, this is the contemporary YA cover that we came to for Sorry for Existing. Like, I've got to show this so you know that like I know how to do covers, because it's so bad, so off brand. So like I didn't know, but I did not know then what I know now. So like, this is the cover that we went with. And again, I love this artist, but like, I still raised $1,800 from 75 people for this book, about like contemporary book about abuse and like loss, and also there's kind of an alien in it maybe. And so like it, and like, this cover is not a good in cover. Like, this is not a good in image. Like, I mean, this is not like, look at the videos, they're not very good. Like, I don't even know why there's like, was there fog in my thing? Like, did I just breathe on the, like, why? But like, it had some elements that were good. Then why? Yeah, exactly. Why? But it was not technically correct, which is my favorite kind of correct. But like, this is 5 different books. 1, 2, 3. I cut the tooting book. 5. And like, this one became this book, and it's our most reviewed book. And with this cover, and like, I love this cover because like, I have a thing for purple. But yeah, like, it's not like I always came out of the room knowing this stuff. Even though I had been a sales manager for years before I did that first campaign, I still had no idea what worked on Kickstarter. I had no idea clearly what worked on Amazon, because I completely unironically put those covers on Amazon expecting them to sell. So it's and I don't, that's not me crapping on, like, I love the covers, they're just not to market. So, and I still made money on them. Like, so anyway, like, the long and the short of it is, like, I think there is like a place for you as well. And I think you can do this. And like, if like Idiot Russell can make like a $3,500 from 155 backers with like a cover that doesn't even show the full name of the book, like, with our help, you can do so much better than that.
Yeah, yeah, and that's the truth is that so we are going to wrap this up. So again, if you want to check out the program, it's at kickstartyournovel.com/accelerator. We'd love to have you. The bonus is going to go away like right as we close this call. So make sure you get in if you're going to get in, and then the price is going up on Wednesday. So really Tuesday is the last day to get it at the current price. So right now it's $4.99 and 49 for 12 months, $49 payment plan for 12 months. And a couple people have asked us, you get access to the program beyond the 4 months. It's actually, we're calling it lifetime access. We don't mean like your lifetime access. We mean lifetime of the program access. And so if we decide to end the program though, we'll send you a Dropbox with all the videos probably. So you can download if you want, but so anyway, so lifetime access. What else do we want to say about it? Oh, the price is going up to $7.99 on Wednesday and a $79 per month payment plan. So make sure you lock in your payment plan early if you're going to be at that price. And what else, Russell? What am I missing?
Yeah, like, okay, so if you watch this video all the way through and you're like, crap, I need 2 hours to like get all of my ducks in a row, just like email igniterstv@gmail and like remind us that we're on. We're not going to do this like tomorrow or like 3 weeks from now, but like if you're like, I need my husband or wife or business partner to like watch this 10-minute segment and like in a replay, like I think we can probably like give you some grace because you're
bonus?
watching it. Yes, for the bonus, because
Yeah,
you're watching it like now. Like you're clearly watching it now, but like if you watch it at 10 o'clock at night and you like then do it at midnight, like we're not gonna.
Yeah, that's fair. Yeah,
that
because
thing.
there's like a replay, or like it's recorded or whatever. So, yeah. So we'll give a little bit of grace, but like, yeah, I would say get in.
Yeah, because
now.
we really want you in it. And honestly, like I mean this from the bottom of my heart. Like the thing that makes this Kickstarter community so great is because it's filled with people who are initiative takers and who are like a go-getters and will like say $500 is a lot, but like I'm going to get $5,000 from this. And like even if I like, and like that is what makes it great. Like it is not is not filled with fence sitters. It is filled with
or freebie seekers.
Yeah, it's filled with people who want to do this and see the value in it. And to me, that's the value. I mean, I don't like outside of like the of us being in there. Which I think is worth way more than the $500 or $800. Yeah. I think that it's filled with people who like want this to work, who desperately want it to work because of something that is wrong or right with their business. Like they've tried everything. I can't tell you how many people have messaged me. It's like, I have never had anything that anyone has told me work except for this thing that you taught us.
Yeah. Or like if they have a huge audience, they're just like I want this to work because I know that I can make a lot more money with this. I know I can be making a lot more money off my backlist, or I know that I want to explore this new thing, or my fans have like been talking to me about this one thing, and I'm just like, I don't want to do it, but I'm going to do it through Kickstarter. So yeah, like the people in it, like I think that is a big reason why it's an active community, because people paid money to be there, and it's like, you have to actually do the campaign to make your money back. Like you can be in there just for fun, but like you need to actually do a campaign to recoup the investment that you made. And so people are like, they're literally like doing their campaigns and like asking questions as they go.
Yeah, and like that was something that really like can light a fire at you, like, hey, give us $500 and like you've got 500 reasons to like do the campaign and make it work. And like we have 500 reasons to like to make it work and make it work 10 times better, because we're going to do this again. And I'm telling you flat out right now, it will be $1,000.
Yeah.
It will be $1,000, and it might also have a yearly fee associated with it.
Right.
Like it's going to go up because I know for sure we can get you $1,000 back in that first campaign.
Yeah.
We've done it every single,
Like
almost
every person
single.
we've done has made
Yeah.
over $1,000.
Yeah. I mean, we do one tweak and people are making hundreds of dollars. So I
Mhm.
know. And I mean, we've been pretty good about not hard selling it because like we just know, but like I'm gonna make one hard sell, which is like it will never be this cheap again. Literally, you will never get as many bonuses as you get today. Like
Yeah.
tomorrow, no. Like it will then the value is the best literally right now, this minute. And
Yeah.
it's on Wednesday, I'm gonna tell you it's gonna be the same course with less bonuses and more expensive. That's the
Yeah.
only difference.
And it's very underpriced right now. Like we do want to say that because you know, we wanted to get more people in basically. So it's still really underpriced for
Yeah.
what it is. And I mean we have people like say like people who are in the community, they're just like, we get it, we know. Like, and so some of you are, you know, you may, there's 11 people still watching this, so some of you may still be on here. Like, yeah, like we get it, but like yeah, like we just see people who we don't actually know like why they're why they're not doing it, because we look at their stuff and we're like, you should be doing this.
Yeah. The
Because
only thing that I can think of is like it's very hard to come up with $500. I get it.
yeah,
Like it's
yeah,
very hard
yeah,
to come up with $500. Like
yeah,
and
it
like
is.
and often and almost all of the time that it's ever happened in my life, like I've been burned by it. Like it's
Yeah,
very rare that I've not been burned by spending like that kind of money by like,
yeah.
oh, well, the value is not there.
But it's
Um,
like, that's like a, I just want to say that is like, so there's trauma from like having, you know, scraped together $500, not you, but like just in general, like, yeah, we all have trauma around like all these things we tried that didn't work. And so it's like, you can choose to let the trauma of that like drive you forward, or you can choose not to. But yeah, and then I would also say like, well, actually someone just said this. There's the payment plan. So, you know, like forget about the bonuses, like do the payment plan. If you need the payment plan, that's why it's there. And if you end up raising a bunch of money on your first campaign and you can pay it off, we will let you do that. And like, I would be happy to give you a bonus if you wanted to do that. So if you're like three months into the program and you have a Kickstarter campaign and you made the money, like, I don't know, I haven't talked to Russell about this, but
yeah, I
like
don't
we're
care.
kind of, yeah, we're like, great, like you know, you used payment plan for a couple months and then you paid in full, like sure, like we'll give you the bonuses, the painful bonuses, for paying it off early. So
Yeah, I mean, we want you to succeed. We're so interested in you guys succeeding because when
we're
you
really invested.
succeed, we succeed. Like when Monica first came to me with this, I was like, awesome. This is a book to make publishing better. And then it's going to benefit me because then I can like run bigger campaigns. And like, I still feel that way because like my heart is in like fiction. Like I wrote 24 books in the last 26 months. Like this is a thing that I'm doing to help make the fiction Kickstarter community and the Kickstarter community of all better. Like we are invested because Monica also loves fiction and wants to run better fiction campaigns and wants to be able to do fiction more and be able to like carve out things for fiction along with doing the nonfiction stuff. And like, we kind of don't understand it fully, like what is happening with this group as far as like what we just did. Like we woke up this morning and we are like, did we just raise $50,000 in like 6 months, like for this thing? And I was like, and we were like, yeah, about $50,000. And like, that's the thing you hear on like Pat Flynn and like John Lee Dumas sites. And we're like,
Mm-hmm.
people don't actually, and we're like, wait, we did all of that stuff. So we are very invested in giving as much back to people as possible. And you don't get that. You can get the technical information from non-Kickstarter, like from not doing this accelerator. You can do, and we literally have a whole YouTube channel devoted to like a playlist devoted to all of our stuff you can watch. Like we have
Yeah.
books devoted to, I have literally hundreds of hours of stuff you can comb through. Or you can give us $500 and you can just say, Russell, I don't want to comb through all the BS. Like, what is the thing? And I'll be like, this is the thing.
Yeah, yeah. I definitely think that it's such an active program. Like, it's 4 months of your time and your life, like not the whole time devoted to it, but like you're going to be doing like the exercises or whatever. And then you have a project and there's like money attached to that project and you actually receive the money and then you actually fulfill it. And so it's like this very tangible thing to do. And so it makes sense to do it with people. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, I think if you're gonna do a Kickstarter,
if you're gonna
like
go all in,
if you're
because
gonna
I do
go,
think people do the Kickstarter, but they're not like going hard, like they're not like all in, like I'm gonna do this, like as well, they may
right,
be saying I'm gonna do this the best I can, but they're not like I'm gonna do this at the level that like Monica and Russell can teach me how to do it.
yeah, and like, look, I mean, like Monica said, like in 6 months you could have a campaign up and running and pay this money back, like
Right, yeah,
theoretically.
like
I mean, we've all done it. Like we've all done the thing where we couldn't afford the thing and we paid for it anyway, and like we just hope for the best. But like you were like, there are videos in that thing that like you give me 30 minutes and I'll be in, and you it will literally change everything
mhm.
about like how you do this. I think the case for the book one by itself like
Oh
is
yeah,
enough to be like, yep,
that blew my mind.
yeah, that's worth $500 right there. So
Yeah.
anyway, like we are not hard sellers. We love this community. Like we think that you should join it. Um, come April 30th. Like we're not going to offer it again for a few months, like probably till the end of the year. So like if you plan on doing a campaign in September, like you want to be in now because we're not
This is the
we
time to be in.
like
Yeah.
we cannot continue doing live streams. Like this is way too much effort. Monica's got a kid. Like I've got like bad health issues. Like we have been very, very committed for like a long time to do this stuff. And like, we need to spend the time in the group. So like, we are not
Yeah.
going to offer it. We're not going to do webinars where we secretly sneak it in, like at least for a few months. Like we are not, you have until April 30th. And on April 30th, the only thing that will change between then and now is you'll be paying $7.99 instead of $4.99, and you will have less bonuses to deal with. And
Yeah.
that's the difference.
Yeah, we do have a couple more bonuses that we're going to announce in the next couple of weeks too. And so everybody who's in it now, you'll get those bonuses too. So if you're like the person who wants all the bonuses, now's the best time to join.
Yep. Now in like, by this evening,
Yeah, by this
by
evening.
like,
Sure.
we want you to be able to sit down with your whoever you
Yeah,
need to make decisions with
mhm.
and like eat soup, talk about this,
Yep.
watch a moment, go through the bonuses. So like it's not like this minute because I really do want you to be comfortable doing this. Even if you are uncomfortable with the money, I want you to say like this is the right move for me, even if you are shakily hitting that payment plan button. But yeah, like for sure, by the time we wake up tomorrow, if like there's not a thing, like no more bonuses.
Mhm. Okay, so
All
with
right.
that said, are we ready to end this? So thank you so much
Yes.
for everybody who stayed, who came, who watched for a portion. We went to 2.5 hours as we apparently always do. So thank you for hanging out. We had a lot of fun answering your questions as well. So, all right, see you later. Bye.
Bye.